What is good, everybody? Welcome to Unscripted Logic, episode 43. Happy Monday. I am Social Assassin. Here with me, as always, the one and only
motherfucking Picasso. Yo.
You know what it is. So tonight we're gonna be discussing a show that could have been one of the greatest shows ever in the history of television, but they fucked it up. They especially the ending. And I am not talking Game of Thrones,
Right? But
I'm talking Dexter.
Game of Thrones. It's still a great show, though.
No, look, I agree. There are a lot of great things about Dexter, but there are so many. But we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into all that.
I would say so many.
No, there's many.
There's way more good things than there is bad things.
Definitely. Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it because I disagree.
There's some colossal things, but there's
especially on the third watch, I really like the first watch. I absolutely loved it, aside from the last season, obviously, and how it ended. But I loved it. Second time around, I was like, there were a couple seasons, I was like, that. And then this time around, it was just I was noticing things that I wasn't noticing before, and I'm like, no, like what, like. He would have never got out of that, or this would have never happened.
Right.
I understand it's TV,
you could honestly, you could do that with any show. Though.
No,
Breaking Bad, the best show of all time in everyone's eyes. Look, if you really wanted to, you could. The first episode, when the DEA goes to raid a house, and really the suspect just sneaks out a window and nobody noticed. Like, come on, bro.
I agree, but
they're driving an RV with bullet holes in it. No one gets pulled over for months. Like,
look, I agree, but even with that being said, Breaking Bad is a much better show than Dexter.
They're two different kinds of shows, though.
It's still a much better show, but either way, we're gonna get into all that.
I don't know. To me, that's like saying Tupac's better than Biggie. It's like, okay, maybe, but
no,
they're different. Like, I don't know.
No, you can definitely say one's better than the other. You can definitely say one's better than the other. Anyway, so. This is gonna be a fun episode. Yo, share the stream, because I promise you guys are about. There's gonna be some debating, some argue. This is gonna be fun. So, and Seizure, don't get mad if Pablo and I start arguing up here. Salute Seizure, salute Dexter. But yeah, share the stream. We're talking about Dexter. Definitely spoilers galore. And here, when I rewatched this time, I really wish I had taken notes, because all the things that I was nitpicking, probably half of them are things that's like, okay, you could nitpick that in any show, but there are some things that it's like, dude, and it's unnecessary too. Not only is it like impossible for that to happen, but it's unnecessary to the story. It didn't even need to be there. So, but we'll talk about all that and more. But before we get into Dexter, what we're gonna do is, Bruce, salute, brother, salute. We're gonna do what we do every episode, and we're gonna Pablo and I obviously we have a couple things that we want to talk about. So I usually do movies and some music history and things like that. So I got some really good, interesting stuff here. Not a lot of great movies released on this day, but released on this day, Avatar: The Way of the Water, which I still haven't seen. La La Land, which I haven't seen, but I heard it was really good. I don't know. I just don't feel the need to watch it. Saturday Night Fever, all big movies, but nothing. Rain Man was released on this day in 1988. But other than that, there really wasn't anything great released on this day. However, we do have some interesting stuff here. So on December 17th, not today, on December 17th, tomorrow, a lot of great things happened in history. 1957, the last episode of the Nat King Cole show airs on NBC, canceled due to lack of national sponsorship. Imagine that, it was canceled due to lack of fucking sponsorship. 1964, Goldfinger, the third James Bond film starring Sean Connery, premiered in London. Check this out. This is pretty dope. This is dope. And I have the same birthday as Judy Garland. I just gave away my birthday.
Oh
no. Headlines with the Supremes as the opening act. So the Supremes opened for Judy Garland.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yo, rest in peace, Judy Garland. She was gorgeous. But then also in 1999, The Simpsons premieres on Fox TV as a full animated series with the episode Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, which is the episode where Homer goes to the racetrack. He's down on his luck. Christmas isn't going well. And he finds Santa's little helper, right?
That's the first episode in 99?
89.
Oh, I was gonna say it don't sound right.
So tomorrow will be the 35th year anniversary. But check this out. I have the fucking VHS tape of that episode.
That's fire.
Right. So I still have it. But yeah, so that's a big deal. I mean, I feel like everybody at some point in their life has watched The Simpsons, you know. And of course there's great episodes and there's not so great episodes, but when there's so many, you know, they're just pumping out episodes like crazy. But
nah, keep that same energy. What
do you mean? I love The Simpsons growing up.
No, I'm just saying, if you could say one other show's, not as good because they pumped out later episodes, and you're gonna excuse The Simpsons.
I didn't say later episodes. You said later episodes. I said been pumping out episodes.
Coherently makes sense.
Okay, all right. Well, whatever. And that's a cartoon. So, you know, but anyway, that's a big deal for a lot of people, I think. So tomorrow is the 35th anniversary.
Can I ask, does anyone watch The Simpsons anymore? Like, respectfully?
I haven't watched it in probably I don't know, a few
years.
Probably like 10 years, but I do still watch the Treehouse of Horrors, even though most of them suck.
Yeah, those are fire.
Well, some of them, like half of them are really fire and the other half are like, you know. But the Christmas episodes also are really good.
I love the 3D one with Homer. You see Homer in real life.
Yes. Yes. I fucking love that one too. Yep. And then real quick, just a couple more things on this day in history. Some really amazing things happened. In 1913, Charlie Chaplin began his film career at Keystone for $150 a week. All right. In 1950, child star Shirley Temple announces her retirement from films at age 22. Smart. That was smart of her. This is a big movie. This may not mean anything to a lot of people, but 1962, Lawrence of Arabia, directed by David Lean, starring Peter O'Toole, released in the United States on this day. That's a big movie. And then let's see,
Peter O'Toole, not a serial killer,
huh?
Peter O'Toole, isn't that a serial killer?
I think so, but he's also it's a different one.
He also made dope movies.
Yeah. Now I think these next two, these are the okay. So the last three are the best ones. 1993, Shannon Doherty fired from Beverly Hills 90210. On this day in 1993 as well. Both of these things happened on the same day in 1993. Shannon Doherty gets fired from 90210, and Nirvana does their MTV Unplugged set broadcasted on TV, performing a mostly acoustic set in New York City, which like most people who listened to Nirvana back in the day, like if they only had one Nirvana album, that was usually it. But so that's really dope.
And said, why? Because Shannon Doherty was like notoriously known as being like hard to work with on set.
Yes,
he was like a fucking prima donna, basically.
Yeah, she was, and they wanted to fire her way sooner, but she was friends with Tori Spelling, and Tori Spelling's dad was the creator of the show. My bad.
And the same thing happened with her on Charmed or whatever. And I think they replaced her on that show too, eventually. Yeah, so.
They absolutely did. But last thing, and my bad, I'm looking at a different page, so I can't see the comments. But last thing, in 2010, Larry King does his final episode of the Larry King Show on CNN. So that was his final episode, was on this day in 2010. So a lot of crazy stuff happened today and tomorrow in history. So yeah, man, tomorrow celebrate. If you haven't watched The Simpsons in a long time, go watch The Simpsons tomorrow and celebrate the 35th anniversary, man. But shout out to MME, shout out to Haji, shout out to Siege,
so
everyone.
I got an answer to this question that he just asked because I was curious myself.
Who has the question?
Did she create the Shirley Temple drink because she was underage and couldn't drink? So I just looked that up, and it says, the Shirley Temple is a non-alcoholic mixed drink created in the 1930s by a bartender in Hollywood to serve actress Shirley Temple.
Yeah, no, I could have answered that. Yeah, I knew that.
I know, but there's a lot of stories that are bullshit. People just say they don't.
No, I know, but yeah, I did know that.
People say that because I look into it, and you're like, that's not even true.
Because I order Shirley Temples all the time, so. Like my girl got me into them like years back, and
it's a natural diuretic.
And
what do you want, your period?
and so I like looked into it, and I was like, why do they call it a Shirley Temple? And like someone told me that, and I was like, doubtful, but okay. And I looked it up, and that's what I found. But
you know, the real first Shirley Temple had
shout out to Rob's,
some other kind of ingredient there, you know. Like Rohypnol.
Right. But shout
I made
out
it especially for you, kid.
Shout out to everyone in the building, man. The ring champion is in the building, Rob's. Seizure, I'm gonna check out La La Land. Haji in the building, MME in the building. We got all the real ones in the building tonight. Bruce.
Is he talking about the movie La La Land?
Yeah.
I didn't care for it, to be honest, but maybe I gotta watch it again.
That's why I haven't watched it, because I'm like, but I like Ryan Gosling's a great actor, for real. Like,
I mean, it's like a musical, which I don't hate on me. Like, I love the South Park movie and shit. Like,
there's a lot of good musicals.
Cannibal the musical, or whatever it's called.
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Aladdin, a lot of Disney movies are like musicals, basically.
Right. But do you have anything that you want to get into real quick?
Oh yeah. So this is kind of interesting. Yesterday, I don't have the exact year, but yesterday is the anniversary of the National Institute taking homosexuality off the list of mental illnesses.
Wow, they should have left it on there.
Hey.
That's one they should have left on there.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I gotta agree. 2009, you missed, I don't know if you mentioned this one. Blockbuster sci-fi film Avatar has its US premiere. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I saw that Avatar Way of the Water was released on this day in 2022. But and you know what's crazy? You're right, because I remember when I saw the release date for the second one, I was like, wait a minute, that's the same day the first one came out. So they did both come out on the same day, different years.
On Christmas, actually. So one's in the theaters. Went to see Avatar on Christmas.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I don't know why the first Avatar didn't pop up on the one I looked at, but good call.
Some war history. World War I, 1914. Germans bombard English ports of Hartlepool and Scarborough. How about this? This is a good one.
This episode about to be lit, yo. Share this shit, I promise.
1973. O.J. Simpson's record 2,000 yards in rushing in a season.
I was gonna bring that up, but I was like, I don't want to take, because I like to stick to the movies and the music. So I was like, I don't want to steal. Like, I know Pablo probably has that, so I'm gonna leave that. But yes, that is fire.
Check this out. 1998, U.S. House of Representatives recommends impeaching Clinton.
Recommends what?
Impeaching President Clinton.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Yep.
Also, same day, President Clinton orders air attack on Iraq.
Yes. Yeah.
1775.
I do remember that those happened on the same day. Good.
Jane Austen was born. You know, then there's some other shit that's like kind of meh, but then there's a big one. So back to some war. How about 1938? Hitler establishes Mother's Cross to encourage German women to procreate.
Yep. That's one I knew you had, so I was like, I'm not even gonna say that because I saw that.
Man, if we want to master the race, we got to get working on it.
That's a fact.
Like, bitches, lay on your backs. And do what you were meant to do.
Look, Hitler was a horrible, horrible, horrible man, but he was a very intelligent man.
Yeah, he was also kind of used as a puppet a little bit too.
Oh, for sure. But you know, he's a complete piece of shit. But the one thing that we all can thank him for is overtime pay, because he's the one who said if people work more than 40 hours a week, then they should be paid extra.
So everyone thank Hitler this Christmas.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, that is a real fact. That is a real fact.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yep.
1944, Battle of the Bulge begins. World War II. But the biggest one relevant to us, I'd say, 1773, on this day, the Boston Tea Party kid.
Yep, I knew
they
that
were
one.
Partying up with tea. If you don't know the story, they were partying up with all kinds of tea. And they were like, no, this shit is lit, kid.
Okay.
But I'll tell you,
we should really like talk about that one day, the Boston Tea Party, because like MME says all the time, like if it wasn't for Boston, Britain would probably still own us. We'd probably still be owned by England. Right. Like,
so I'll just give you a rough overdraft. It's a 1773. In a Boston harbor, a group of Massachusetts colonists disguised as Mohawk Indians board 3 ships and dumped 342 chests of tea into the harbor. The midnight raid, popularly known as the Boston Tea Party, was in protest of British Parliament's Tea Act of 1773, a bill designed to save the faltering East India Company by greatly lowering its tea tax and granting it a virtual monopoly on an American tea trade. The low tax allowed East India Company to undercut even tea smuggled into America by Dutch traders, and many colonists viewed the act as another example of taxation tyranny. So when 3 tea ships, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver, arrived in Boston Harbor, the colonists demanded that the tea be returned to England. Massachusetts stood on business. They said, yo, bring that shit back, son. And Governor Thomas Hutchinson refused. Patriot leader Samuel fucking Adams organized a tea party with about 60 members called the Sons of Liberty. His underground resistance group. The British tea dumped in Boston Harbor on the night of December 16th was worth nearly $2 million in today's money, kid. Parliament, outraged by the blatant destruction of British property, enacted the Coercive Acts, also known as the Intolerable Acts. In 1774, the Coercive Acts closed Boston to merchant shipping, established formal British military rule in Massachusetts, made British officials immune to criminal prosecution in America, and required colonists to quarter British troops. The colonists subsequently called the First Continental Congress to consider a united American resistance to the British, kid. And there you fucking go. That's how people being mad over tea made us all free. You see?
Yep. And
that's where the term spill the tea comes from, kid.
Facts. And MME, your comment is comment of the night so far, and we're only 24 minutes in, and I think that's gonna probably stay the comment of the night.
What Boston is to the USA, it was the Bronx is to hip hop. You talking about that one?
Yep.
Or you got to keep the British accents going, kid.
But so was that the last thing?
That's it.
All right. Well, as you all know, we got to do this one time for the one time.
Come on in, y'all. Hit that like we're talking about. Decade old battles as though they just happened. It's getting heated cause they both have passion. Pablo Picasso, social assassin. Friends dropping gems cause they know about rapping. Hop on the panel and get to why you're wrong. Debated on the channel, so on and so on. Chop it up and discuss different topics. Come in and watch it, unscripted logic. Come in and watch it, unscripted logic. Unscripted logic. Every Monday from 6 to 9, talk battles and pick apart shitty lines. And if you're not on my side, I can change your mind if you give me time. But while you're here, you should hit the like, cause we keep it raw every Monday night. Nah, bro. No, I'm fucking telling you. Oh my god. You don't know a goddamn thing. Are you serious? You're out of your mind. Exactly. I can't fucking believe this. Oh, please. Get the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That's ridiculous. Bunch of sons and no goddamn thing. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Really? Yeah, okay, bro.
Salute. Yes, so unscripted logic, y'all. Welcome. If you've never been here before, that is how we do it. We come in, we do a little bit of an intro, we talk about some history, we play our theme song, and then we get into the topic of discussion. Shout out to everybody in the building. Please share and like the video. I noticed that notifications didn't go out to certain people, so definitely share the stream. But look, man, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into Dexter. Now, Pablo, how do you want to do this? Do you want to go season by season? Because you're gonna have to remind me of stuff, and like you're gonna have to like say, because my memory is not as good as yours. Like I remember certain things, like even though I've seen it 3 times, but like once you say something, I'll remember. Like, oh shit, yeah, and I'll remember the whole thing type deal. So let's start with the first season, right?
Well, let's start with what Dexter is. For those who are, even if maybe just give a
all right.
Can
I just say something before we get into who Dexter is?
Yeah, let's say what the show is.
Yeah, what the show is. The theme song is way too long.
Too long?
Too long. Far too long.
I don't agree. You could just
far too long. No, I do. I have to. I have to. It's so long. And
I don't know, but I'm trying to think of other.
The first couple times I watched it, like I understand what they're doing in it, like trying to like show like blood and like blood flow and like things that look like blood. And I liked it the first couple times. Like I like it, but I just feel like it's too long. So
I mean, it's no longer than
same thing with Game of Thrones,
no longer than our theme song. If you look, it's not 5 minutes, it's literally under 2 minutes long.
It's still too long. I feel like it's still too long.
So I
always felt
title card, and I feel like every show that has a theme is like that length.
What Breaking Bad's theme is like 10 seconds.
Yeah, okay, that's not a theme. Here's the inherent difference, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Because Breaking Bad was on AMC and had commercials. So when they come back from commercial break, they do a title card.
Right, but at the beginning,
a little bit of music play as they go.
Right. But even shows on cable television, they like a lot of them have an intro, like Law and Order has an intro.
For time, because they don't have a free hour, they have to try to trim it down. If you have
I don't think that's what it was with Breaking. I don't think that's what it was with Breaking Bad. I think it was just.
Well, look at True Detective. Is True Detective's opening too long?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Now I just feel like you're just being. I feel like you're just impatient or something.
No, it's not. I'm sitting down to watch a show. I want to get to the show, like,
and you can skip it.
Right. That's right. That's what I. That's what I do.
My new point to even like before we even get into.
Hell no. Hell no.
Too long. Like
hell no. Because the intro song get to the point and then get to the show. I'm sure a lot of people,
regular TV.
I'm sure a lot of people agree that there are shows out there that the theme is, the intro is just too long.
I just don't see how you could say, if it was like 3.5, 5 minutes, I could say, okay, that's a little too. You're not sitting there.
You know what?
4 minutes going, all right, okay, when's this gonna come? It's 2 minutes long. It's like it's average length. Like, I don't know. For you to say that about Dexter, you have to say that about all these other shows. And at that point,
what other shows have like that? 2 minutes is not an average.
Sopranos. How long is the Sopranos intro? Like, how the fucking Always Sunny in Philadelphia? How long is that? Even though that's on regular TV.
I skipped that too. That shit's way too long.
But that's what I'm saying. So you can't. That's not
particular
to Dexter.
So
you're using it as a point against this show. And I'm saying all these shows do it.
I have a reverse thing for you though. Like you're talking about like network television and like Showtime and HBO and stuff, right? Because like the Breaking Bad needs to save time, so they have a shorter intro. But what about a show like Curb, where Larry can literally be like, this episode's going to be 48 minutes, and they let him do that. That intro is just 2 seconds.
That's a comedy show, though. Like, I don't even know how we're making the comparison between Curb and I'm trying to like keep it to like crime dramas even. I'm thinking like, okay, The Wire, fucking Sopranos, or even if you want to cross genres, like Game of Thrones would be more accurate. Like the Game of Thrones intro.
I said
too
Game
long?
of Thrones. I said Game of Thrones is too long, but
I feel like you're just bugging then.
No. Because when I watched Game of Thrones for the first like 5 seasons, and the first time I ever watched it, I told my girl, I'm like, don't ever ask me to skip the beginning, because the intro, because it's so dope, even though it was long. But then after, like season 5, I started skipping it just because.
Right. Well, now you're talking about shows that you're rewatching. The normal person.
I'm not rewatching Game of Thrones. What are you talking about? I'm not rewatching. I'm talking about when I first watched it.
And and when I watched Dexter, skip it is my point. I'm
right, but when I watched Dexter for the first time after the first episode, the second episode, I gotta skip this. It's too long.
The first time you watched it, the second episode, you're like, this intro I want to skip. Now you're just bugging, bro.
It was either the second or third. How am I bugging? Because I have a differing opinion than you.
No. Because all right, so
because you like long.
Can I just finish my point real quick?
You like long, boring, drawn out intros.
Did you watch it when it was on?
Yes, I did.
So while it's airing on TV, the second episode, you were already thinking this intro's too long. I don't believe that. I don't.
Okay, well, don't believe it.
Airing on TV, you thought that? Like, no.
Absolutely.
Looking back now, you have the thought because you rewatched it 3 times, and on Netflix, you're thinking that. But
so now you're calling me a liar, dude. I'm telling you 100% fact.
Remembering looking back.
Absolutely not, because
you just hold on,
Pablo. Hold up.
Did we not start the show with you saying you might need to remind me because my memory's bad? Did you not say that?
That has not about certain things in the show, but not when I watch the show. And I'm going to tell you how I remember about fucking watching the show the first time, because I was homeless sleeping in a fucking garage. So I do remember watching.
That's why you didn't like the intro. Like, what the fuck?
No, what the fuck does that have to do with liking the show?
I'm sitting down on the couch to watch a show, and it
seems to me like you're getting mad that I think the intro's too long. Who cares? That's my opinion.
I just think we're spending entirely too long on just this one little thing when I just pointed out.
All I did was say I think it's too long, and you went on this whole like.
I went on examples that are exactly the same length. So
but it's not going to change my opinion.
If you're going to say that about this, you have to say that about this. And
I don't know, but that's not true. I don't have to say it about anything else, because here's the thing: the Game of Thrones. No, Pablo, listen to me for real. The Game of Thrones intro is actually longer, but it's much more interesting. So I'm okay. I'm okay with watching. I'm okay with watching a long intro if it's interesting, but I'm not okay watching a long intro when it's somebody just tying their shoes, cooking a pork chop, putting on their shirt.
Is the Game of Thrones intro not just gears turning? Like.
No, but it's the
gray screen,
but it's the
globe and gears turning and a map of places that sometimes we never even see.
But if you pay attention, each season changes, and the different cities build that they're gonna be in during that season. That's creative, like.
Yeah, but to me, I think the to just say like, oh, he's putting a shirt on, he's putting his boots on. Like, that's kind of oversimplifying it too, because it's the editing.
Oversimplifying it. He's fucking tying his boots, cooking a pork chop, an egg, making some fucking.
Yeah, he is, but the cinematography of it is pretty dumb. Like, I'm gonna put in it. I'm gonna go out of my way to watch the intro. No, but I just think.
It's him getting ready in the morning
before we even
to go
get
to work.
Into the seasons to say like this show that could have been great and the theme song. Like I'm like, all right, now I just feel like you're just nitpicking. To be honest,
the theme song. I figured since we're gonna start talking about the show, why not start from the first thing, the very first thing you see on the show? I
just feel like just saying, I don't care for it. I skip it this time around. I would have been like, yeah, I agree.
All I said was it's too long. That's literally all I said. Know, bro, you're bugging. All I said
think it was the way you
all I said was
I think fucking intro is entirely too long.
Bro, that's not how it was at all. I literally said I think the intro's too long, and you were like, "What, bro? You're bugging." And then started going, listen to it back.
I will. And I'm pretty sure when I said I was like, what? Like, I laughed and was like, the intro's too long. I'm like, I don't know. I think you're
right.
bugging.
But you're still trying to paint it like I was. All I said was
paint nothing. I want to move the fuck on. I think I already made my point on this like 2 minutes ago.
And so did I. My opinion's my opinion, and you're not going to change it just because you like watching a grown man get ready for work.
Can we agree to disagree? It feels like now we're arguing about the argument as opposed to just
Pablo
going,
likes to watch grown men get ready for work.
See, now
before
you just
show,
said you're trying to paint the no, what you just did was try to paint the whole argument that we had as I like to watch men get dressed. Like,
well, is that not what's happening in the intro?
Anyway, season
is he not getting ready for work in the intro? Answer the question and we can move on. That's what I thought.
Anyway, season 1.
I told you it was going to be like this. I warned you yesterday.
Warn me.
I told you it was going to be like this.
But I just don't understand. You don't rewatch a show 3 times. That's not good. You just don't. The Walking Dead, never rewatched it ever because I don't like it.
Bro, you sound retarded right now because I watched it the first time and I loved it. And then I rewatched it again like a few years later. And then the only reason I watched it the third time was because you hit me up and said, I want to do an episode on Dexter. And I said, okay, well, it's been like 10 years since I've watched it. So let me run through it. So I didn't rewatch it the third time because I fucking wanted to. Trust me.
You do it.
No, I'm just saying you can ask my girl every night. I was like, oh my God, I just want this shit to be over.
I don't know, man. It just feels like if that's it, honestly, like I'm not even trying to be like that, but if this whole thing is just gonna be you doing that, like, I don't know.
No, we're gonna agree. I know we're gonna agree on some stuff, and I know we're gonna disagree on some stuff. But the way you reacted to me saying the intro was too long, like I just said I don't agree. Can I finish my sentence? You took it overboard and then tried to make it look like I took it overboard.
Because I disagreed with you? Like, I don't understand, bro. Stop.
No, you didn't just disagree. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. To me, it's too long. You started going into, well, if you say that, then you have to say that about every show and this and that.
Which I stand by that statement.
That's fine, but
argument.
But I disagree. Absolutely
disagree. And we disagree. Anyway, Dexter is an American crime drama series that aired on Showtime.
That's another reason why Breaking Bad is a better show.
Why?
Because there's no fucking intro. It's like, let's get into the show.
I mean, bro. I thought you were going to say because this is on Showtime and that was on AMC. I was going to say, I don't know. Dexter is an American crime drama series that aired on Showtime from October 1st, 2006 to September 22nd, 2013. Set in Miami, the series centers around Dexter Morgan, a forensics technician specializing in blood spatter, not splatter. It's spatter, everyone. For the Miami
definitely
Metro
spatter
Police Department, who leads a secret parallel life as a vigilante serial killer, hunting down murderers who have not been adequately punished by the justice system due to corruption for legal technicalities. And I think that's all you need to know. It's the first season is based on the book Darkly Dreaming Dexter by Jeff Lindsay.
And then they completely went off.
I mean, there's nothing to go off of. There was only one book. So what do you I mean?
I know, but it could have been like, I don't know. because I read the book and I felt a different story like after, than what they actually did.
I mean, that's a lot though. Like if you read,
no, I feel you.
Like if you read Red Dragon and shit, and you watch Silence of the Lambs, and then when the guy wrote Hannibal, everyone waited years for James Harris to write Hannibal. And then when the book came out, everyone was like, what the fuck? Well, all of a sudden, Hannibal and Clarice are like in love with each other now. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you imagine of it is like what writers
always different.
They have to be different for like, oh, everyone thinks I'm gonna go here, so now I'm gonna go here.
And anytime you read a book and then watch the movie after, it's never what you pictured in your head.
Right. Even the people you imagine them looking like, you're like, really?
Right.
I imagine a completely different person in my head.
Yeah.
This guy's like 100 pounds heavier and 10 years older and
completely different houses. Like
right.
Yeah, fact.
I mean, I get like changing a setting or something like, oh, this book takes place here, like say The Departed, right? Like in Infernal Affairs, but to make like a remake of it and make it set in Boston and shit, make it like Whitey Bulger, like that makes sense for changing it in that direction. Like it makes it fit, So
wait, say that part again. Sorry, I heard you.
When The Departed was a remake of Infernal Affairs, the Asian movie.
Yes.
I said to take that and make it set in Boston and have it centered around like Whitey Bulger instead.
Loosely,
that makes sense though, and it works.
It works, yeah.
So
it definitely
sometimes
works.
you can make adaptations to something and actually make it work in your own vision, but sometimes they just go fucking haywire with it.
Correct, yeah. Absolutely.
So some people really can't be given like full creative control because it's like, what are you doing?
No, definitely not. It's got to be a team effort on a lot of things. Any movies and music, any production, it has to be a team effort. Like very rarely when somebody writes, directs, or and produces something all together, rarely does it come out good. But there are a few that do great at that. But
I will say I'm more defensive about people talking shit about Dexter because
about what?
Dexter because I've rewatched it like 5 times, and it's like one of the only shows that I've rewatched that many times because it is infinitely rewatchable.
Well, here's the thing: there are a lot of good things about the show, and a lot like I dislike a lot of the characters, but the ones I do like, I really like, and they make me laugh. And Michael C. Hall's acting is bar none. Incredible. But like it absolutely insane. But there's just things that it's like but we'll get into that as we talk about the seasons. And I know you're gonna agree with me on a couple of them.
No, definitely. But is it a perfect show by any means? No. Especially but the first 4 seasons are amazing television. Amazing.
Minus season 2. Season 2 is really great.
We'll get into that, and
season 2 is really great, but they fucked up some things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, it has a name too.
Oh yeah, it has. We're on the same page. We talked about this
Dexter.
That's right.
First episode, it opens up. He's talking to himself, but he's on the boat and he's like, oh,
hold up real quick. My bad. I don't mean to cut you off, but Hazy, mad spoiler alerts coming up. So
I feel like each season, as we talk about it, we should just like talk about things. But then if you're gonna say something crazy, maybe just say, okay, like, huge spoiler here, just so.
Yeah. And then you can cover your ears if there's gonna be a huge spoiler, which if you haven't seen it and plan on watching it, definitely cover your ears.
So no matter what's said here tonight, if you've never seen this show, it is absolutely worth watching.
Yeah, it's captivating. Especially the first time. Especially the first time.
Yeah, absolutely worth watching at least once.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
You got to think for 2009 when this show came out. Think about it, first season. There was nothing really like this on TV at the time.
No, it was like CSI on or Law and Order on fucking steroids.
I was gonna say like it's like it has elements of those, but at the same time, like the cinematography of it, what I feel like
they're out of The Office way more.
What I feel like is very underrated. Every time someone talks about like the good things about Dexter, I've never heard anyone mention is the music. The music in Dexter is incredible, bro.
You've never heard anyone mention the music?
No, everyone says, "Oh, Michael C. Hall's acting." They say which seasons they like or which villain or what.
Nah,
no one ever says the music. The score is awesome, bro.
Every single time a piece of music is played on any episode, it's not only the perfect music at the perfect time, but the perfect length. Like it's brilliantly scored. This movie,
and the way they like add, it's like the piano, the organ sounds, but then the way they add like bongos over it too to give it that Miami vibe.
Yes.
Well, like, because normal shows will have like, oh, we got a foot chase scene to the like heavy guitar or drums or something. It's like no, they heighten the action with like the sound of the bongos, and it gives it that more like that Cuban feel, that the Miami-ness, but it still has that like lucid dreaming kind of like vibe that that the rest of the music had. Like it's like dream sequency almost. But
now, what did you say? What like about the bongos? Like this is how a bong goes. Like this is how a bong goes.
Wordplay.
I don't know if y'all could hear it, but that's how a bong goes. But no, I had a little humor in there. But
no, I feel like it's irritated.
No, I'm not trying to irritate you. No, but you're absolutely right. The score is
fire.
The music is amazing.
I think season 1. Honestly, I think I would give it, I don't know, maybe not a 10 out of 10, but it's pretty close, bro. Season 1 is like a 9.7 out of 10, to be honest. Like
now, spoiler alert, block your ears real quick. Now in season 1, is that the
ice truck killer?
Right, no, I know it's the ice truck killer. But does he transition over to season 2, or does that stuff with him and Deb on the boat happen at the end of season 1? All season 1. Okay.
All first.
Now, what did you give season 1?
Like a 9.7 out of 10. Like it's damn near.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I honestly, I would have to agree with that. Because they really did, even though they were just starting the show and just starting to figure out like who the characters were and things like that.
Some characters weren't, I want to say
fully developed.
Developed them more in later seasons, but for what it was starting out, like
very little mistakes in the first season.
Yes,
very little mistakes.
I feel like it's because it's a more concise. It centers around. It starts
one specific.
The first episode, it shows you who Dexter is. It shows you where he works, the people around him, and then
you end up finding out where he comes from.
Right.
Like,
but even like first episode, it shows him he hunts a dude. So you find out he's like this vigilante. You find out his job. All these people around him.
Tonight's the night. And then on top of that, because he's a crime scene guy. Like the first crime scene they have him go to is the ice truck killer. So it's not, and there's not even any blood, so he doesn't even need to be there, really.
Right. And it's like clearly the dude sending him a message, like right off rip. There's no filler really. It starts right out, and you're like, oh shit! Like, and I feel like
I can't wait to get to season 6 and bring up the blood spatter thing, because I have something very, very, very big to call out on season 6, but we know season 6 wasn't great anyway. But
no, it's honestly, it might be the worst season, but
yeah, I don't. Season 5 might be them season 5 and 6. There's good things about season 5 and good things about season 6, but ultimately, though, whether it doesn't matter which one's the worst, those are definitely the
season 8 is the
worst.
worst by far, I think.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They try to do too much at once. So this is a great point.
Season 8's
about what makes season 1 work so well is all the stuff that doesn't work about the last season is because, like I said, it's so concise. They're telling one story. It's about this crime scene guy and him chasing this killer who he feels a connection to because he's clearly like leaving him clues, and he begins to like admire and respect this killer in a way. Yeah. So it's very concise. Of course, you have the stuff with his sister and Rita and stuff, but it's ultimately it all like revolves around Dexter, and it's very like, and it's all in this one little like circle, basically.
Right. And now I feel like, spoiler alert, huge spoiler alert. So cover your ears. I feel like at the end, and I'm going to talk way more about it when we get to the last season, but I just think that they did what they did at the end so that they could continue to make money off that character in the future if they needed to continue, you know, and it also like plays it safe. Like, I don't know, but we'll get in. I have more to say about that too later. So,
but I just think like everything, like I was saying, the reason this show was so big at the time, not just because of Showtime, you got the swears and everything. It's no commercials, the cinematography, the music, and you get a little bit of the CSI Law and Order-y type shit. Like they are at crime scenes. You do have the procedural stuff that happens like episodically. They show up to crime scenes, like the one on the hockey rink, and there's like all these bodies, and then they make a joke like, "Oh, look, gift wrap," and he's like, "What's the killer trying to tell us, Dex?" And he's like, "That hockey's a violent sport." Like that, you get the humor, you get this,
and he doesn't even know that he's being funny. Like when he says things like that, little one-liners like that, he doesn't even know he's being funny. So when other people laugh, he looks at them like, "Oh, like I'm supposed to laugh now," and then he kind of laughs with them. You
sometimes, other times, I feel like he just knows I'm supposed to pretend like, you know, this is what other humans do, kind of shit. Like, which I love in the first episode when he's on the boat, he's like driving by some dude, he waves and he's like, "How's the fish out there today?" "Oh yeah," and he's like has this huge fake smile on, and then he's like to himself is like, I fake all my human interactions, basically. He's like, I don't know like what I'm supposed to do, basically.
Exactly right. And that's the thing. Okay, so since we're still like at season 1, and I agree with you, I give it like a 9.7. That is Dexter. So like he has such an urge to kill, and his father like helps him harness it, and we'll get more into his father Harry and what he did for occupation and how he helped Dexter deal with his issue. But Dexter didn't have a normal life. He didn't think about girls. He didn't think about video games. He didn't think about friends. He didn't think about none of that. So like when he got older, he had to, you know, his dad told him, okay, you got to go to college. You got to get a job. Then like eventually you got to get a girlfriend, get married, you know, have kids. Like I don't even think he said all that, but like
when they introduce Rita, he even says himself that she's basically like a decoy, like she's a shield. She's a shield for him. So he's not like, "Oh, I'm a single white male in my 30s." It's like more of a suspect for killing.
So like he loves her for like because of what she can do for him, but not in a malicious way. Like he still cares for her and stuff, but ultimately like he's not in love with her because he's incapable of being in love, but he loves the situation.
There's an argument there though that I feel like this, I mean, it's a good point. I agree with what you said, but it's because Dexter is always telling himself that he doesn't feel emotions, and he's not
because
human.
That's what Harry taught him. Yeah,
exactly. But the more the show goes on, the more you see that there is parts where he does care. He does, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and Rita,
like,
I feel like he does actually grow to love her. He
well,
was just
that's
trying to convince himself that he's incapable of it.
that's what I mean. Like, I feel like he's definitely capable of loving and caring, but when he was with Rita, like you said, he was in that mentality where like he just couldn't be in love with her, but he loved the situation, and he loved how
it was like a situationship. You know?
Yes, it was a situationship, and it worked for him, and like he didn't want to, like, she was a battered, like, came from a battered husband and all that stuff. So like when they first got together, she didn't even like to be touched. So like he's like, oh, perfect, because he doesn't care about sex either. Like early on,
He's
like
not till the situation for me.
Yeah, right, not till the later season. So like he was fine with just like coming home and chilling, and he works for the police department, so he can make excuses to be out late, like, oh, I was working,
crime
whatever.
scene, got a crime scene, we gotta working at the lab or whatever. Yeah,
and Rita was a little dumb, but you know, it was just a perfect situation for him. And we'll get in.
And she comes with 2 kids already, so then he can play like, oh, I'm the father too,
right?
Having to be like
ready-made family,
right? Fact,
you know,
which is like perfect for him. It's basically the perfect like disguise. It's like,
because
I'm a family man.
And also, if he ever had to like leave and escape, it's not his blood, so he can just, you know, dip. And of course he'll feel a little bad, but like he's a psychopath. He's not really gonna feel bad. Like he can cut those ties. So, you know, it is a great show. You know, and like I probably came off like an asshole and a little harsh on it, because there are certain things about it that do piss me off, because
mistakes that make you want to bang your head against the wall and go, what the fuck were you thinking?
But the only part of it
is it so hard is because the groundwork they laid before.
Well, the problem with me is like most of the big issues I have with the show could have been avoided. Like you didn't have to have it.
Game of Thrones, bro. Like,
yeah,
you know, I feel like, but I'm saying the reason why so many people are upset about this is because you don't get that upset if it's a mediocre show and it has a shitty ending. You get that like worked up because it was fucking amazing, and then you're like, bro, you fumbled it. Like, what the fuck was this? Like,
yes, yeah.
So I get it. I get the. Like, I'm not ever gonna sit up here and say like, oh, the ending was good and this was perfect. Like, no, but
no, I know.
I discount and discredit like the shit before, especially at the time. Like I was saying, like when this aired, it's like I said, the first season is like a fucking damn near a 10 out of 10, bro. Like the cat and mouse game between him and the ice truck killer. And like he fucking throws the head out the window, it bounces off the windshield and shit. And then so like he's trying to remember the scene where he gets that like lady and the dude on the table in that like RV, and then he gets called back to a crime scene at that place.
Yeah,
walking in, he's like, "What did I leave behind? How did I fuck up?" And the body's back on the table. He's like, "That's impossible. I dumped her in the lake." Like,
yes.
This dude fishes the body out of the water, puts it back there just so he has to go back to the crime scene. Like, that's amazing, bro. I was like, oh my god, like, no, don't tank after season 1.
Not after season
4.
After
the first 4 seasons are amazing television.
The season 4 finale or the last 2 episodes of season 4 it's the best. One of the best endings to a television season ever.
Exactly. So I think that is what highlights the bad endings and stuff. But that's what I'm saying, to just discredit as a whole, and like to say what Caesar said, because I know people say dumb shit like that, like it tanks after season 1. It's like, no, it doesn't. What are you talking about? Like, season 5 onward, it definitely starts.
You know what I think it is, Pablo?
But like you said, I just want to say season 4's end. It's one of the best season endings of all time.
Of any TV show. Season 3 is fucking phenomenal.
Right. That was one while watching it the first time. I wasn't like a huge fan, but watching it again, I was like, yo, I really like season 3.
Yeah.
For real. Like,
if you fuck me, I will fuck you back.
Right. Jimmy Smith's
like, yo,
hilarious in that shit.
But so I think, all right, so let's get into season 2 right now.
So to wrap up season 1, it's pretty damn near perfect. There's you have your villain. There's a crazy like twist reveal, which we don't really have to say.
No, I don't want to give away that.
Right. So, but overall, like, and honestly, another one, the season finale of season 1 is Born Free. That episode is amazing because that's when you get a lot of answers about Dexter's childhood.
Yes.
And just the whole way it's filmed, shot, and everything. So that to put a cap on season 1. Great fucking season of television, especially when it aired at that specific time.
Yes,
was like revolutionary. You know,
absolutely.
So moving on to season 2. What were you gonna say?
No. I was just gonna go. I have a couple things for season 2, so I was just gonna go right into.
So season 2 starts.
So hold on.
I don't remember.
I wanted to say something that because a lot of people say that season 2 tanks. I mean, the show tanks after season 1, and you know what I think a lot of that might have to do with is the French chick. Like a lot of people don't like her. A lot, and I don't.
Is she French? I don't think she's French.
Or whatever she is, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of her either. And hold up, I want to go back to season 1 a little bit too, because not go back to season 1, but now there's a detective in the department that has he knows there's something off about Dexter, and he's not, he's a black detective, and he's the only black detective in the department. They have every race on the show, but he's on him. He knows he's like,
something off.
He's always like, you're a weird motherfucker, Morgan. You know that?
You sick motherfucker.
Yeah, surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, motherfucker. Surprise,
so like, and then he says, he goes, oh, I think he can see me for who I am because he's a killer too, because he comes from like the special forces. Yes, he killed.
So he was like on murder squads in fucking Fallujah or whatever the fuck they say.
He killed a lot in the army. Yes, and had friends die and stuff like that. He also had like partners die. So he's a prick, but like he's an awesome character. And but he's on to Dexter, like.
But that's another reason why season 1 is so good, because of Dokes. And this is my argument.
Yes.
Season 2 is also incredible, is because you have the growing tension between Dexter and Dokes.
That's what I wanted to say.
Special Agent Frank fucking Lundy in season 2 when they're investigating the Bay Harbor Butcher.
Yes.
Which is another tension point. Like, there's a lot of stuff I feel like works very well about season 2. The one thing that stands out is Lila, and because all she is a hot plot device. She comes in from so basically, this season is like where he works. They find out. So I don't know if we mentioned earlier, when Dexter takes care of his victims, he takes them out on his boat and he dumps them in the ocean in pieces. The season 2 starts with all of these body parts that he's dumped in the past start resurfacing. The bags he used or something like deteriorate, and all these corpses start. And once they find them, they dive down and they find like all these victims of.
And Dokes literally like basically says to Dexter, like, I think you're the fucking Bay Harbor Butcher. Like,
right.
He literally attacks Dexter too. Like they're just he knows Dexter's not just a fucking lab geek. And he stays on him. He starts tailing him and watching him. And
I saw someone saying like, oh, how come they didn't like how come more people didn't think it was him when the bodies washed up? And I was like, because they thought it was the ice truck killer. The person that comes in and disproves that theory is Agent Lundy. And Dexter actually respects him, even though he's scared. Obviously, he's like, oh shit, he might figure me out. He respects his like skill and his intelligence to go, oh fuck, he figured that out. He knows that, like. So I like the dynamic there between the guy hunting him down is in like working at their station, and he's like very intelligent. Then you have Dokes, who's constantly tailing him because he knows something's off. Because what happens with Deb and shit in the end of that season.
Yeah, always tailing Dexter. Like
and the one thing
throughout the whole second season.
Facts. He said literally follows him every night and shit. And like you said, the one thing that really doesn't work is just, I won't even say all of Lila's storyline, just like the major points of her. Because if you think about it, she's introduced in the like the NAAA subplot.
Well, that's how you know that like at that point Dexter really wasn't capable of like love like that, because he cheated on Rita with the British chick.
Right. Technically, they broke up before they slept together.
Yeah.
But because he goes on a road trip with her.
He banged her again after, though, when they were back together.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think he cheated on her.
I think so.
They break up because
but either way, it doesn't
they go on a road trip together. He stays the night in the hotel. They don't do anything. And then she leaves the message on the voicemail, which Rita hears and goes, "You spent the night." And he's like, "We had a joining room." And he dumps him. And then he bangs her.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I want to say,
but I thought he banged her again. I could be wrong.
I mean, he's like continuing to bang her, but they're like on a break or whatever, But anyway, so I wanted to say that she gets introduced in the subplot, which basically Rita knows something's off with him because he keeps disappearing at night. And like we said before, she had the father of her kids, her ex, is an ex junkie. So she's like, "You're disappearing all the time. You're acting weird. You're hiding stuff." She's like, "I know this behavior. Just tell me you have a problem and I can help. Like, I'll stay with you," basically. She's like, "You're an addict, right?" And in his mind, he's like, "Well, I am addicted to killing." So he just goes, "Yes, I'm an addict." He doesn't say like of what. So she's like, "Okay, you're going to go to these meetings." And he's like, "All right." Like, immediately like wants to fake it and bullshit. He goes up there and tells some bullshit story about being addicted to heroin and stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, I got my last paycheck, spent it on H. Said fuck my boss, got fired." Like just telling this ridiculous story. And this girl sees right through it. She's like, "That was bullshit. I don't know what your real problem is, but like you're just bullshitting here."
And she wasn't even really a drug addict like that. She just liked going to meetings, right? Oh no, she was a drug addict, but she had been clean for a long time.
She's more like a chaos junkie for real.
Yeah, like she's like the girl, like the one from Fight Club, Tim Burton's wife.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
Fight Club. Like, they used to go to all the meetings just because, like,
right. She's like Fight Club.
That's what I said, Fight Club.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But so I was thinking the chick from Breaking Bad that Jesse gets with.
Yeah, Jane.
Right. It's like she does drugs, but she's more like a manipulator, like fucking adrenaline chaos junkie. You know what I mean?
But Seizure, yes, it's definitely worth watching, and you might like the ending. Like some people did, most people didn't, but some people did. I just thought that like the way they make you think it ends is the way that it should have ended.
Yeah, I mean.
And I even said it.
I could argue. I mean, well, we could get there.
We'll get there. But I even said when they said that the storm was coming in or whatever, I was like, "Yo, if he just did this and like was never to be seen again, that would be just a dope way to end it." But
that is the ending, though.
But then it's not.
Right, but I don't know. Well, we could get there after. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think they just could have left that other part out and like left it to the imagination. You know?
I agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So,
especially if you had no plan. Like, see, what I don't understand, and this goes for a lot of shows, I don't understand the announcing this will be the last season.
Yeah.
And opening up new storylines that have never existed before in the last season when you know it's the last season. And you're
that's bullshit.
Wrap this shit up, yet you're gonna introduce new characters like, oh, this guy is like got a daughter all of a sudden. And
they want you to
what? Bro,
they want you to start caring about new characters. It's like, what? No.
Like, what the
fuck that. Like,
and shows do that all the time. I don't understand. Like,
I do. It's because they don't have good enough storylines for the main characters, so they have to have those like subplots for the side characters.
So, but back to season 2 and the things I think that, like I said, season 1's probably like almost 10 out of 10. Season 2 is like still like a 9.2 out of 10. There's so many things that work well about it.
I give it a 9.
And some of the characters that get more developed, the stuff with those, like all that works so well. The only thing that keeps it from like a 10
that
is
takes
the Lila stuff.
It takes a full point away for me. And honestly, like,
yeah, well, I said 9.2. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. We're pretty close in agreement there. Like,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. But not even like what she does at the end of the season, but like even just things she does like during the season and towards the end of the season, it almost like makes it like an 8.5. But
I don't know.
But I can't.
I do want to say something about.
But I can't do that because.
Like annoying characters and shit and show because like even Breaking Bad has fucking Maria, Skylar, like they're
there's characters. Dude, every show has annoying, but I do give it a 9 because I can't take away from what the rest of the season was because of this bitch, you know what I mean?
I will say the first big mistake that is made in this show within the writing is the Doak situation, like them two going head to head. I think they messed up by doing it too early because Dokes is such a good
100%.
Season 1 and season 2 are so good, and he adds so much that by forcing them to go head to head too early, like even wait until season 3 would have been better.
Even 4,
right?
But they rushed it.
They like kind of rushed it.
Season 1, episode 2, you knew he was on his ass. Like,
right. So I get the point of like, well, if you're suspicious of someone, like it's going to take you this long to like, you're already suspicious. Like I get it, but at the same time, you could have like started that in season 2 and like had it kind of come to a head and see. So here's my big problem. And spoiler. This is a spoiler, guys. So my big problem with the Doak stuff is how it ends, because when he's confronted, the entire show is based on the code, right? The code his father teaches him.
And what's the number 1 rule of the code?
Don't get caught.
Don't kill innocents.
Kill innocents, and number 2 is don't get caught.
Oh, so are you sure number 1's don't kill innocents?
Yeah, number 1 is don't kill innocents, definitely.
I thought number 1 was don't get caught.
And the second one is don't get caught.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I'm pretty fucking sure. Number 1 is not kill innocent people.
If number 1 is don't get caught, then number 2 doesn't apply if you need to.
Exactly. So number 1, it has to be don't kill innocent, and number 2 is don't. But my point is, when confronted with those two things, you have 2 rules that he abides by, and now they're in direct conflict. He knows Dokes is technically an innocent, so he's like, how do I deal with this? But then you have don't get caught.
Number 1, don't get caught. Number 2, never kill an innocent.
So that is so that makes it even more like, okay, if your number 1 rule is don't get caught, and this dude wants you got to deal with it. But then he's like, well, Harry always taught me never kill an innocent. That's part of the. So what works about?
Should I read Harry's code after you're done?
Yeah. What works about it as the writers, they force Dexter into the situation where the 2 things that like the two major parts of the code are in conflict with each other, and he has to make a decision. And that's something you want for your main character in a show like this. You want them to have to make a choice and to have to live with the after effects. And you go into the next season and you have them dealing with the choice they make. And honestly, I don't care what it could have been. It could have been, oh, I have to do this, so he does it. It could have been, I can't do this, so he lets him go. Then this dude's onto him. Then maybe he has to go on the run. Then like he has to deal with the after effects, or like he decides to do even what he decided to do and go, oh, he said there's two options, but really he neglected number 3, which is like, oh, frame job, right? Even that could have worked, because then he'd still be behind bars being like tried for this while still being a nuisance, still being a problem for Dexter by constantly saying, I didn't do this, it was him. And then he could like convince Maria LaGuardia to look more into it. Like there's 3 major choices they could have made that all could have led to drastically different paths, that all could have worked. And what they chose to do was do a deus ex machina by having fucking Lila, the subplot character, be plot device to come in, swoop in, and save Dexter from having to make a decision and the after effects. And I know why
it was a cheap cop-out.
Yes. And I know why they did it, because like you said, they liked having the crime procedural drama of him working at the office. He goes to crime scenes and he's a killer by night. They wanted to maintain that main like arc,
especially in the second season.
But that's the choice you made by pinning Dokes against Dexter that early.
They fucked up right there.
So you force
him to make that difficult choice way too early in the show.
Exactly.
In an 8-season show. And Dokes is a character that could have lasted 4 seasons.
Exactly. I was going to say, with the character as important as Dokes, you force that decision, but then you give him an out so he don't even have to deal with any of the replications.
And then he ends up
goes right back to work. Well, and I know what they wanted to do. They wanted to do okay, that's all tied up. Season 3. And just get back.
And now here's Quinn, a dumb fuck detective who's actually like crooked, but then starts going straight. But he's dumb, so like he's never gonna like catch on to Dexter. Like there were a couple times where he looked at Dexter sideways, but like Dexter caught him stealing money, so it wasn't. So like he never wanted
up the ending, the consequences he might have to face, and also taking a major character out and then replacing him with I do want to like I like Quinn in certain seasons.
No, I like Quinn too in certain seasons. Absolutely.
But also, like you said, now you're missing that entire part of the show where there's someone who's onto him. Like that added so much tension. Someone he works with, so he had to always be on his toes.
Yep.
So you fumbled the ball on the ending. You did it too quick. You got rid of a major character. Fumbled the ball with the ending, and now you have to replace him, and now you're missing a major tension point. So obviously all of that keeps it from being like a 10, but I'd say there's so much that works leading up to the end of it that I still give it like a 9 out of 10 as a season.
I do too. I'm just
saying this is where the cracks start to appear in the writing. Like, this was the first time they really dropped the ball, like really did.
Yes.
And I wanted to really harp on that specific thing and the choices, because if you know writing and like,
and I guarantee
shows and movies and shit, like, that's a big thing when a character is forced to face stuff like that, forced to make a difficult choice. And then, like, you want that as a writer, and that's actually what does work about season 5 is the stuff from season 4, because then he's forced to live with these things.
I guarantee going into writing it, they were all excited and they were like, "This is gonna be dope." But then when they got into the writers' room for season 3, I guarantee you they realized. We premature ejaculated with that one.
You know what I think it is? I guarantee half of the writers in the room were like, no, we should have him do this, because then And the other were like, well, we could go here. This could be.
Of course.
And I guarantee you there was one guy who's like the showrunner. And I guarantee Showtime probably heard there and was like, well, what if, well, I don't know. Because if you do that we like how it's going. And we like the episodic crime scene investigate, like, so we can't do anything to really mess that up because we
want a
that.
Showtime CSI Law and Order type
exactly
show.
They
and
needed
it's like
to
no
keep it nice and clean so they could keep doing what they were doing basically. So I really feel like it was like a showrunner who decided like, no, we're gonna do this. But, I mean, regardless, whoever, they fucked it up. So.
But yeah, they fucked it up. And and you know what though, it also could have been a situation where like they didn't know if like they, because after season 2, like I think after season 1 they got picked up for 2 more seasons. So I think that might have been the driving force behind having him face Dokes so early. But even still, if you had 2 more seasons, you should have let that play out to the end of the 3rd season. And that should have been the end of the 3rd season then.
Right. I 100% agree. I do also think, I said 2009 before my bad. So the show started in 2006. So you got to think season 2 is probably 2007. Right. And I do feel like that time probably did have some effect on it too. I feel like if this show came out a little later, like 2012-ish, I think they would have navigated certain things a little differently, to be honest, because this was the predecessor to a lot of stuff that came after it. I feel like making those big choices and those bold things, like a Breaking Bad and shit, like I think they would have felt more comfortable and more free to do stuff like that if it was a little later, just because in television at the time, you know, it was like kind of, you know, unproven, untested waters. Like, oh, if we do this, they're thinking they might lose their whole fan base if they go too drastically different with it.
That was the same thing with Breaking Bad too. Like that was brand new territory. Nothing, especially with like AMC, you know. But do you want me to?
Yeah, you can go to the code.
The code, yeah.
Or you can get a little to about, you know, the code, why he teaches them the code and shit too. If you
want. So Harry, well, I think I got into that earlier, but
a little bit. We didn't really talk about it though.
Yeah. So Harry, that's right. I said we'll talk more about that later. So Harry, adopted Dexter. Okay. Spoiler alert. Big time spoiler alerts here. I'm not gonna say how he adopted him or why he adopted him. Let's just say he was found in a pool of blood.
Yeah, violent occurrence.
Yeah,
also his dad is a cop, by the way.
I'm not gonna say whose blood he was found in, but if you've seen the show, you know. If you haven't, watch it, you'll know. But so Harry takes Dexter and there's well, I'm not even gonna tell that part because that's a spoiler for later on in the show. But he takes Dexter and he's covered in blood or whatever, and he adopts him, and he's a cop. So they go to this crime scene or whatever, and Harry just knows like this kid's gonna be mentally fucked. Like he was like 3 or 4 years, I think he was 3 years old, 2 years old, like just born in blood basically. And so Harry took him and adopted him, and he had a daughter but he knew that Dexter was going to be some type of monster, right? So he wanted to try to like prevent that. So what he did was, as Dexter, you know, was getting older, he was like even as a kid though, he was like, you know, killing animals or, you know, doing whatever, you know, just weird shit. So like Harry, his dad would talk to him and tell him, you know, like like Dexter, you can't do that. Da, 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 you gotta wait. You gotta wait. And he would be asking, like, when can I kill? You know, when can I need to get this feeling out. Like, it feels like my head's gonna explode. And so Harry decided to come up with and Dexter had to deal with this his whole high school, like middle school, high school, like his whole life. Just dealing with this, like feeling
Inner
that you need to get out. Like,
right.
Imagine you had the most important thing in the world to say, like the cure for cancer, but you just couldn't say it for years and years and years, you know, for like 12, 13 years. You know
well,
what I
I
mean?
do, like, real quick, in season 1, remember the therapist guy that he's stalking and shit?
Yes.
He actually starts to open up a little bit, and there's the
Yeah,
scene when he
yeah.
comes in and goes, I'm a serial killer, and the look on his face when he's like, oh, he goes, that feels so good to say out loud, like, because he's never been able to before. So I love that scene.
Absolutely. So Harry, when Dexter becomes a teenager, he basically, you know, explains to him, look, we have to figure out a way for you to control these urges. And they figured out a way, but, you know, he obviously wouldn't let him do it till he was an adult. But what he had him do was kill bad people. But before he taught him how to kill and get away with it, because remember, he's a cop. So before he taught him how to kill and get away with it, he taught him how to act like a normal person, and also make sure that he got into a field in the police department where he works with, like, blood or whatever, just anything forensics, you know, that he can, you know, get rid of anything he needs to. If, you know, something's found and it's something from something he did, he can fucking be like, oh, inconclusive, you know,
right,
whatever.
Also, like, hiding in plain sight type of shit. Like another disguise too. Like,
living a double life, hiding in plain sight type shit. So so Harry taught him all that, and then eventually taught him how to kill. And Dexter did, spoiler alert, Dexter did his first kill without Harry's permission, and Harry found out and was not happy.
But
before I read down the code, you go ahead and say something, anything you want to say about
So
Harry's relationship with Dexter.
Well, I'm going to start off by saying the reason we're doing this episode right now is because the prequel series just started like 2 days ago, and a new season has been announced for the summer of 2025. But also, we didn't mention the blood slides, because he's a blood guy and stuff. He takes trophies from each kill, and he has this, like, box of blood slides. But yeah, his dad, Harry the cop, comes across him, takes him in, starts to teach him. I think the biggest thing, he feels he always gets very defensive when people question him about, you know, anyone that does find out and stuff. They start like, well, what about this? And he's like, no, Harry's code is he's like, it's a higher standard than your justice system. He's like, I have to find definitive proof that they're kill it. And then someone's like, okay, if you find this proof, then can't you arrest them? So it does come back to, like, the want and the need to kill, like.
And keep in mind that too, that you know, the whole time Harry's spending all this time teaching Dexter all this stuff when he's a teenager and stuff like that, and in middle school and stuff, he's completely ignoring Deb, his daughter, and their mother. Deb's mother is dead, so, like, there's no mother. He's a single father.
Yeah, this girl who's actually his daughter.
who's actually
ignored the entire time, because in his mind he's not even really like there's one part where
he's just trying to prevent Dexter from being
a
serial killer,
from killing innocent people and shit.
Yes.
And the thing, I think, when he finally decides to teach him, he comes across him like hurting an animal or killing a dog or something, and that's when he's like, okay, I gotta, like, you're a budding serial killer, we gotta do something about this.
Yeah.
So and he's getting really aggravated
because
he's getting aggravated at work because this guy he knows is a piece of shit is like getting off on a technicality, and he's really like upset about it. So and he decides like, oh, I can kill two birds with one stone, and it really is like his desire for justice. He's like, this fucking piece of shit, and I want him off the street, and he slipped through the cracks on a technicality. He wants the guy dealt with, and at the same time he looks down and sees like, oh, this kid, he's becoming a killer, I don't know what to do with it. Maybe I'll kill two birds with one stone here type of shit. So that's why he teaches them to kill criminal, like he's like, the justice system has cracks and people fall through it, and he's like, that's where you come in, son. Like, but like you said, he's doing all this so much to the point where Deb feels neglected and shit, and she's like, what the fuck, like, you're not paying attention to me. And then that's literally why she becomes a cop too, is because she feels like she's like, maybe he'll see me if I, but
that's exactly why.
That's exactly why. That, I think.
Just trying to many a time she says it because she was trying to get his love and attention.
There's a scene where they're gonna go hunting, I think, and Deb's like, can I come? And like, no, this is me and Dex thing. And she's like, well, what the fuck, like, why can't I come? Like,
yeah,
really, exactly. It's like, no, they're training him to hunt humans, but
yeah, for real.
Oh fuck. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good breakdown. So,
but yeah,
season 3.
Yeah, we'll get in. No, so Harry's Code real quick.
Oh yeah.
Which I feel like we probably should have did at the beginning, but that's good. This is a good time to bring it up
because this was that much in the first couple of seasons anyway.
Right, and this was when we started talking about Harry anyway. So us personally in the show. So Harry's Code, don't get caught. Number 1. Number 2, never kill an innocent. Number 3, targets must be killers who have evaded the justice system. So it can't just be someone like, like, I don't know. But it has to be someone who has evaded the justice system, meaning they beat a charge.
Some of them aren't technically killers, but like, I know this one dude who's like, well, I guess if they're like a drug dealer and they sold drugs that like people OD'd on and stuff. Like, I know some of his victims, like, technically I guess they're responsible for the death of someone else.
Right. Yeah. Number 4 is killing must serve a purpose, otherwise it's just plain murder.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, blend in socially to maintain appearances.
Mm-hmm.
And we've basically said all this, but this is just in better terms, shorter, more concise. Number 6, fake emotions and normality. 7, control urges to kill and channel them. 8, be prepared, leave no trace or evidence. 9, never make a scene, stay calm and collected. Meaning, like, no matter where you are or if you're in public, don't ever be the guy that everyone's looking at. Like, what the hell?
Like fly under the radar type shit.
Fly under the radar. Number 10, don't make things personal because it clouds judgment. Good one.
Which we see a lot of times.
He
does. So that's what I was saying about.
Well, there's only 2.
Like, okay.
Yeah, there's only 2 more. But yes, his judgment does get clouded a lot. We'll go back to that. 11, don't get emotionally involved. 12, no preemptive killing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, go ahead back to that.
So
don't make things personal because it clouds judgment.
Yeah, there's definitely parts throughout the show where he absolutely acts on impulse as an act of like revenge, or like, you know, as much as he tries to convince himself he doesn't have feelings and stuff, we see time and time again he reacts to shit in a way that is like
for
human.
other people though too.
Yeah.
Like Lumen, and we'll get to that, but
right.
like
It's mainly happens in defense of others, like
others. Yeah,
when people like threaten the people he cares about, it's like he goes to the end. But I mean, honestly, even back in season 1, when his sister is threatened, he's willing to do the ultimate sacrifice, you know, with the season. So even back in season 1, you see that, like, and we see that time and time.
He almost you know,
Yeah,
spoiler alert.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm actually not even gonna say it, but yeah, he almost did that shit.
Yeah,
That was crazy.
People, if you know, you know, so you don't even have to say it.
Yeah.
But anyway, season 3. This is the season we got the guest appearance, and this is the start of each season would kind of have like a guest star for the season.
Yes,
this is the one
and this is, and he was on a season or two of he guest stars on a lot of shows, but he was on like Sons of Anarchy. This man is an absolute TV legend. Jimmy Smits. He is
assistant district attorney Miguel Prado.
Miguel Prado. If you fuck me, I will fuck you back.
Right.
I love that. Yo.
And then we get the introduction of Detective Joey Quinn.
Yes.
As well.
Yes, we do.
And then, you know, there's the chick, Ellen Wolf chick, the defense. So basically, this season starts. It's regular. Dexter's out on the hunt for a killer. He deems this guy to be worthy of the code. He's on a hunt. He like goes into this guy's. He's like a drug dealer or something. He goes into the house to get this guy one night, and the guy's already in an altercation with someone else. The guy he's in there to kill actually takes off, and the other person he was fighting with, who he doesn't know who it is, comes at him. And like defensively, he reacts. He's already got a weapon in his hand because he was there to take care of this other guy. He winds up accidentally killing this person who he doesn't know. So obviously is like, wait, I don't know if this guy's guilty or innocent. So like we just talked about the code, this is a big thing. This is a big moment because this is the first time he's killed someone that he didn't 100% know deserved it. So then after that, he's like vigorously looking for some kind of proof to prove that this guy deserved it, and he can't find it. So he's like, fuck, did I just kill an innocent person? Right. And it starts to fuck with him. And then you find out the guy he killed, that's where Jimmy Smits comes in, because he's a district attorney from somewhere else. But he comes in because the guy that got killed is one of his brothers.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, this dude shows up, and he's like, oh, fuck, this guy. He's like a big wig, hot shot, known around. He's like, you know, has a lot of political power. And he's like, oh, fuck, I killed this dude's brother. He's a bad person to make an enemy out of. And they had this dude has another brother who's like a sheriff. So it's like, uh-oh, this is like a bad family to get on, like be on their bad side, you know? So that's kind of what sets up the whole season. Throughout, all of a sudden, the guy that he was hunting, he still wants to get that guy because he got away, you know? And now, because he gets called back to the crime scene where he did kill that guy, the innocent one, and they know it's at the dude's house who he was trying to kill. So now they're like, oh, this dude must have done it. So that's when Jimmy Smits and stuff is like, oh, fuck, we want to get this fucking guy. Like, we want to get him. And Dexter still wants to get him because he escaped. So, like, he finally hunts this dude down. And fucking Jimmy Smits walks in on him, like, getting revenge, like, taking him out. And he's like, sees him kill someone. And it's the first time that like something like that happens, we're like, oh shit, like what do I do here? Do I kill him now? Because rule number 1, don't get caught.
Right.
Now he's like, this dude just walked in on me, but the guy like smiles and he's like happy, but it's like he says, oh, I don't know, he came at me and I felt like I had to defend myself and fucking, you know what I mean? Like he just starts saying whatever he needs to, and Jimmy Smits is all like, don't worry about it, fuck him, he deserved it, he killed my brother, and blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
So all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, like, do I? And then the thing is, Jimmy Smits' character is very like manipulative and shit.
Very manipulative.
He has something over Dexter. He saw him like kill someone. So now he has this thing like hanging over him. And Dexter's very like weary about it. But now he starts approaching him.
And he tells Dexter like, oh, we should do this, and Dexter will be like, no, we gotta wait. He'll be like, oh yeah, you're right, and then he'll just go ahead and do it. Like it's crazy.
And say he starts approaching him with like possible target, like we should, this guy's a piece of shit. Let's take him out. Let's take
yeah.
And he starts being like,
bro, he didn't kill it. Like he didn't kill anyone. He didn't do it. Like
right. He starts trying to tell him like they don't fit the code. And he's like, what's this code? You got to teach me the code, and you got to like. And like you said, he'll be like, oh, we got to do this. And he'll be like, no, we can't. That's not smart. We got to play it smart. We got to do this. And he's like, okay, no, you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
And then just wants to do shit his own way anyway. But
because he's a politician, though, and he's not used to being told what to do.
But he likes having power. He likes.
And Jimmy Smits plays this character so well, fucking well, bro.
So well. The manipulative weasel, because he keeps like grabbing and go, we're brothers, Dexter. We're brothers.
Oh, he does all the time.
No one knows
Dexter,
you like
brothers.
No one knows you like I do. No one. We have a secret. We share, and we feel the same way about this stuff.
He says that he goes. We have a secret. We share, Dexter. Like he's so happy to have this like connection with somebody that's not his family, that like, because he doesn't know anyone else that's like him that wants to kill, but he wants to kill for the wrong reasons.
No one knows the real him. The only one that did was his dad.
Right.
Or no one else in his life ever sees the real him and accept. And like you said, he's like carrying the secret for so long that finally someone else knows and they accept him. That's the whole thing with that. With Lila, the only reason like he had this attraction to her is because like, oh, she sees me, she's not scared. Like. But this 100%. Is a whole new level because now he feels like, oh, can we be brothers? He's like, maybe Harry was wrong. Maybe I could have a partner, and but then you start to see the cracks in the friendship when he says no, when he tells him no, and he starts to flip out, and he does little manipulative shit, like he like gives him, he's like, oh, on this next one, he's like, I'll do the killing, and then he like gives him a shirt with blood on it to hold on. He's like, oh, now you have something on me too, like evidence wise. So he's like, he
does,
but the blood, he like fakes it.
He gives him the fake one. He gives him a fake one
as the manipulation tag. He's not really gonna give this person stuff that he can hang over him, but he wants him to think that he did. So he'll lower his guard because he sees Dex. He sees himself as smarter than him, and he wants to use him as like a puppet, basically. But in a fucking manipulative way of like, we're brothers and we're partners, but yet never listen to any fucking thing he says. So,
that's
you got that. And
Professor, welcome, Professor Boulevard.
But then you got the Joey Quinn stuff. I think Debra makes detective. I don't know if it's in this season or not, but then she's partners with Quinn and stuff. And
no, I think she makes detective in like season 5. She makes her or 4.
Season 5.
Yeah, I think it's season 4 though. I think she makes her wait mad long. You might be right though. Let me check. But yeah, no, actually, I think you are right.
Yeah, because she can't not be a detective and be partners with the detective Quinn. Like, she has to be by that point.
Oh, detective. Yeah. She was promoted to detective. My bad. My fault. I was thinking fucking
lieutenant. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was thinking
I don't know what that was all
yeah.
about. That was weird, but
yeah, that was weird. I don't know
but
what
I
I
mean,
was
that's
thinking.
pretty much season 3. That's the main crux of season 3 is the Miguel Prado stuff. Him, the brothership, the friendship,
and he's great.
The manipulation, them two, like when they start going at it, the performances given,
the acting between the two of them, bro,
amazing, bro.
When there's a scene where I don't know. Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't know if it's on a rooftop or a parking garage, but like
it's on the roof of the parking garage, I think.
Yes. Okay. So I was right there. So yeah. So the fucking argument that they have and the bro, that is fucking acting. That is television. When you watch that type of television, if you're a true fan of like good television shows, good movies, like I know a lot of people don't care, they don't watch TV, whatever, but like that's the type of shit that gives you chills when you see actors fucking, because sometimes, like, say it wasn't Jimmy Smith, say it was another great actor, right? Just not Jimmy Smith, another great actor. The chemistry with Michael C. Hall may not have been the same.
Exactly.
But the electricity between them, bro, that fucking it was that was one of my favorite scenes of any episode of the whole series.
Salute. Yeah, I just watched that one the other day too.
Of the whole series, it was one of my favorite scenes of the whole series.
Oh yeah, bro. The rooftop DME with Miguel and Dexter
yes,
is amazing.
It's top 5 for me.
But another thing, though,
but hold up, DME. Rewatching Dexter now. Just watched the new episode yesterday. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it tonight after this episode. But salute to you, DME. But yeah. So what are we on? We're on season.
Yeah, we're on season 3. So basically, that's the crux of the thing, and then it's like them, like them at odds with each other and stuff. And I don't want to like give away any crazy ending, but
yeah, we're not gonna give away the
season 3. I think there's a lot of things that work well about season 3. There's not some big like fumble like there was in season 2.
Right.
The performance, like, I gotta be real, even the characters that you might be like, oh, this person's annoying. Like, I know you don't like the actress that plays Deb.
I don't like Deb. I don't like LaGuardia.
Right. But the chemistry between Michael C. Hall and her is so palpable because maybe even in earlier seasons a little, but then they actually started dating and then they broke up.
Life, yeah.
In real life, the actors dated and then they broke up. They got married, broke up, and then still had to do the show together.
And the chemistry was even better after
because there's scenes where she's like, you can tell it's not like acting because she's genuinely like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You fucking emotionally closed off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is real. Like, this is carried over from their relationship that they had.
Facts. Yo, hit the like and share the stream. Hit the like and share the stream, please. Thank you. This is a great episode. Pablo and I have argued. We've argued, we've debated, we've agreed. It's been amazing. We started the show off with a fucking argument. So
right. But yeah, that's pretty much it for season 3. I feel like what would you give season 3 out of 10?
We got about an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, we can go a little over, not too much over, but yeah,
I think we can go through 4 through 8 and like.
I'm gonna give season 3 a and real quick, when the new season's over, the prequel season's over, we're gonna do an episode about New Blood and the prequel season in one episode, like the first half about one and the second half about the other. But anyway, season 3, I would probably give season 3 like a 9.3 because I liked it better than 2.
Crazy. The first time I watched it, I felt differently. I honestly, I don't know, maybe it's Jimmy Smith's. I was like, in my opinion, when season 3 came out and ended, I thought it was the weakest season of Dexter at that point. but rewatching it again,
season 5 has always been for me.
No, I'm saying this is just when it aired, so only seasons were out at the time. I was like, I felt like it wasn't as good as the 2 before it, but rewatching it, season 3 is one of the best, to be honest. Season 1, season 3, and season 3, I think are probably up there as like the 2 best seasons of the show. Overall, everything just works about it.
And the first 5 seasons for me, it's season 1, season 3, season 5. Season 4, season 2, season 5, because that's the worst one anyway. But yeah, that would be the order of the first 5 for me.
Yeah. But season 3, I'd say probably like a 9.3 or something like that.
Yeah,
9.5 even. Fuck it.
9.5 even. Yeah. Let's go with a 9.5.
So far, season 1 through 3, none of them have got below a 9 out of 10. That's what I'm saying. It's great television. As much as looking back, we have things to pick apart about different seasons. The earlier seasons of the show are rewatchable for a reason, and they work. It's just captivating television.
What did we have for season 1? You had 9.7.
Yeah,
and I had a 9.5. And then season 2, we both gave it a 9.
Yeah, like a 9, like a 9.1, 9.2 or something, you know. But season 3 is better, so I give that like a 9. But either way, season 1 through 3, none of them are below a 9.
None of them are below a 9. Fire.
So season 4.
I don't know why you chose PP as your host. I don't know where that came from.
Oh my god.
But
season 4 is fucking amazing. So this is another case of you have a special guest appearance for the season. This season is John Lithgow. Is in
great actor.
Yeah, amazing actor. And I'm gonna be real, when they first announced it, and I was like, is he gonna be like a killer in this, or is he gonna be like a cop or something?
I thought he was gonna be a cop.
Season 4 is him like being a weirdo in the bathtub with this lady, and you see like, I'm like, oh, they're going for it. They're gonna have John Lithgow play a serial killer.
Yep. DME. Yeah, season 4 was the Trinity killer. Season 3 was great for sure. Yep. So season 4 starts out great. I feel like the way that they did it, where right off rip they show you who he is, who John Lithgow, who Arthur Mitchell is, right off rip, and then you know, it literally gives you a few episodes before you find out that he has a family and all this stuff, and like the way that they timed all of that was perfect. It was perfectly executed. And
we got to make the point too, because at this point Dexter has married Rita.
Yes, at this point Dexter has married. So between season 3, or did he ask
the end of, I think the season finale of season 2, he gets married?
Season 3, maybe 2.
I think
it could be.
Happens. I don't know.
Yes.
Remember. Yeah.
Yes.
But also, again, season 4, we have the recurring role of Special Agent Frank motherfucking Lundy.
Yeah.
Son,
the goat. The goat.
He really is, bro.
He really is.
Addition to the show, like.
Yeah, he would have figured out the Stephen Avery case.
Oh my god.
Stephen Avery could have figured out the Stephen Avery case. Oh boy. Yeah.
Well, because there's a whole thing
let's
of
not even talk about that.
Rita is like getting mad at Dex because he still has his condo, and she's like, "Why do you need a condo for? If we're married, you don't need that anymore." but he uses that to keep like his blood slides and shit.
Literally the only reason he keeps that apartment is so he can keep his blood slides there. That's literally the only reason. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say this, right? At first, when I first watched the show, I was like, wow, that's a really great hiding spot. But then the second time around and the third time around, I was like, I don't think that's a very good hiding spot. Like maybe for something else, but like not for like fucking literal fucking evidence linking you to a bunch of murders, you know. But you know, if like that'd be a good like place to stash your weed if you needed to or something. But
you weed in there.
Yeah.
You weed in there.
But either way,
there is like another subplot that's happening during this season is the vacation murders. You know, there's like this couple, they're on the run and they keep just like, they're like thrill killers basically. And then you have the Christine Hill, the young hot reporter, shows up, starts asking questions about the vacation. You know, she's like, "Oh, what's up with the vacation murders?" And then you know, her and Quinn start banging and stuff, and there's like that whole subplot of that. But yeah, you get Lundy returns. He has the theory. He's at this point retired from the FBI. So he said he had this one case his whole career for 30 years. He had this theory and no one else bought it. The FBI said, nah, we're not getting any resources to like look into this. Now that he's retired, he decides to come back. Deb thinks it's for her because they dated a little bit. She's like, "Oh, you came back to me." She's like, no, I'm sorry. I'm here for this case, you know? And he has this theory about this person that kills in threes. He calls the Trinity killer, you know? And yeah, bro, there's so much about this season that works. So basically, Dexter is like, "Oh, this Arthur Mitchell guy, he wants to take him out." But then when he, like you said, he finds out he has a family,
he's like just like me. Because like Dexter, at that moment, Dexter had just got married and like he did Rita found out she was pregnant, right? Rita was pregnant. So he
still has the condo. So there's this like conflict in the relationship, and he's like, well, how does he keep it together? Because on the outside, he has the perfect family. The daughter and son are happy,
right? And Dexter has the already 2 kids with that Rita already had. Now he has one on the way. So he's trying to learn from Arthur Mitchell, from the Trinity killer, because
he thinks he could learn from him because he's like, he's got it all. He's got the perfect family. How does he keep the monster at bay and still be because he's like, he's a perfect father, a perfect husband. He does like charity work. He like helps these churches.
Yes.
He does construction for these
builds houses.
Like, he's like, how does he juggle? Because then he looks at himself. He's like, wait, he's like Dexter, the blood spatter analyst. He's like the husband, the doting brother, the father, stepfather, the father to be, the serial killer. He's like, how do I keep?
But all of Arthur Mitchell wasn't as perfect as Dexter saw from the outside, you know?
Exactly. And that it's crazy because there's the point where they like hit a deer or something, and fucking John Lithgow starts like crying, and he's
like, I can't do it, you do it.
He's like, oh, we'll just put him out of his misery, and he's like, no, I can't, like,
and Harry's there, like Dexter, shoot him.
Right,
not the deer.
Right. He's like, fucking shoot. He goes, this is the guy you think you could learn from? Like, he's like, look at this fucking dude. He's like, just fucking take him out already. Like,
right. And the acting throughout this whole season is amazing. From Lundy to everybody, and
like I said, even the hot reporter chick, she gives a good performance too.
Yep. And Lundy, and even though I hated her character, but I liked her storyline a lot.
Right.
That she was, I'm not gonna say it, but
it's like
yeah.
Yeah.
But I liked that about it, and I liked that she was using dumbass Quinn to to get information. But
then you have the like conflict between, because clearly he has a thing for Deb.
Right.
And then they're seeing each other. So he's like, oh, what? You're just jealous of my girl. And then, she starts to get a little suspicious. It's like, oh, maybe. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, he's all pissed because he's like, you want me to do what? And like, you have that conflict there. Like, this season is just, the performances,
even Quinn's acting in this season is amazing.
Harrington, like, he does a great job in this season. Like, as much as trying
even Deb.
Here's the thing:
Jennifer,
like, he wasn't a replacement for Dokes, but as it went on, I feel like they did find a place for Quinn to fit in the show, and I think season 4 does that well.
What I think happened, because I saw an interview with him one day, like a while back, and it was like that was the initial idea, was that he was supposed to kind of replace Dokes and be the one to be going after Dexter, but he kind of had the idea to make Quinn more of a like degenerate and like and
and
I love that
too. Like,
yeah, and I absolutely love that, man. And I love when him and Batista become partners. Like,
oh my god, bro! When they
get high,
like the T-Bird driving around,
and they smoke.
Like, let's smoke a joint, and like, bro,
he opens the visor and it falls out, and Batista's like, that's not my. And then Joey's like, Quinn's like, what? He's like, you smoking weed now? He's like, what are you going through a midlife crisis much? You got bought yourself a Firebird, now you're smoking weed. And he's like,
oh, says the guy that's fucking dealing with his marriage falling apart. It's like fucking every night, coming in reeking of booze. Like,
yeah. And then he goes to light it, and he's like, what are you doing? Don't like that. We're on duty. He goes, we're sitting here waiting for a call that we're probably not even gonna get. And he's like, all right, go ahead, light it. So they light it, they get wicked fucking high, and then all of a sudden the phone rings, and they're like, oh, the phone's ringing, and they're like, don't even realize like what, and then they answer it, and they're like totally fucking stoned. But Batista answers the phone, and he's like, that was work, we gotta go.
Yeah,
like so fucking.
So there is, I think we did kind of skip over. We didn't even mention Batista or Masuka at all. So
I know
throughout season 1, and I think season 1 is a little. I'm trying to remember if it's like more jokey, more comedy before or after, but either way, throughout the seasons, something that works very well with the show is the wisecracking Masuka. He's always like sexually inappropriate jokes. You got the Batista. He's like, like just the array of characters and stuff. Like, that's what I was saying about the show being rewatchable, because it does.
Masuka and Batista are great characters. Like, it is rewatchable, but honestly, after watching it the third time, I don't think I'd want to watch it again. Maybe in like 10 years. But
I don't know. The first couple like you said, it's almost like there's parts where even
I could see watching the first 4 seasons again.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's parts where even like we're kind of just more going over like the main plots of each season, but individually, like episode, like that's what I'm saying, episodically, there is the entertainment of the just like investigate, because like in between all that, they'll do like, oh, this murder happened, because they work for the forensics. So like, oh, a murder happened, now we're investigating it, and they'll like catch the killer based on the evidence, and he's like, oh, this splatter pattern, he raised the knife to the right and came down in this motion, and so they are like solving crime. Like, there is an aspect of like, it is like a CSI type of shit where.
But less like that. It's more about like Dexter and like things like that. But those aspects do exist.
that make it more rewatchable is my point. The comedy, the humor, and
there's
it's not
there is a lot of
the
comedy.
main plots that happen where it's like
there's a lot of
setting up to this big thing, and then that's it. And once you know what happens, it's like, oh, okay, like
right. Because
that's the biggest thing I realized rewatching it.
There's a lot of great dialogue because they find the right actors to place together, like Masuka and Dexter. Batista thinking that Dexter's that they're best friends, and Dexter has no idea. Like, is hilarious. Batista and Quinn's relationship is amazing. I don't know. There's a couple seasons where I think Deb does all right. Like, I feel like her acting gets better as the show goes on. But I just never thought that she was that great of an actor. But all right, let's wrap up season 4 so we can get to season 5, because I have a huge gripe.
Season 4 gets wrapped up in plastic.
I have a huge victims. I have a huge gripe with season 5, and 2 huge gripes with season 6. So
yeah, so season 4 is damn near perfect. It's amazing. It wraps up. There's a couple twists that we don't want to spoil. Has one of the best endings of any season of any television
of any show ever. I might give this season a 10 or like a 9.8.
Yeah, I would.
It's damn near perfect. Like, I don't know if I could give it a 10, but it's
give it like a 9.7, 9.8 for sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't mind that. Like, the actress herself, I've seen her in other stuff. She's not great, but as Deb, she gives one hell of a performance, even with the bad writing that they give her in like a season 5, and like she does well with what she's given as an actress.
You're right.
Deb,
it's
as
just
much as she's unlikable, she does a good job as the character. Like,
no, and she is good at being emotional when she needs to be, and
right,
being angry when she needs to be. But I feel like that's like all she really has, but it just ended up being perfect for the show. And
that happens. There's I don't think John Travolta's a genuinely great actor, but as Vince in Pulp Fiction, he's the perfect role. Like
same. I feel the same way about Aaron Paul, like Breaking Bad.
Right. Is he a great actor and other shit? No, but is he the perfect person to play Jesse?
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel.
And that's my favorite show ever is Breaking Bad. So, but all right. So we both agree like 9.8.
Yeah, this is a great fucking. So season 1.
Is it better than season 1 to you?
I don't know. I mean,
you gave season 1 a 9.7.
I think just because of the end, but I like the ending of season 1 too. Like,
yeah, but the ending of season 4 is so fucking like
it's very powerful.
It hits hard. It's powerful.
I think just not just that, but that is like the cherry on top. I'd say they're pretty much, as seasons as a whole, they're equal. I think, but
that gives it a little.
I think season 4 just has a little more powerful of an ending.
Okay, so 9.8 on that one. All right.
Yeah.
So season 5 now.
Yeah.
Now season 5. Now before we even get into like the beginning of it or anything, so there's a scene in season 5, right? There's this character named Lumen who gets introduced, and I am not a fan of Julia Stiles at all. And she kind of ruined the season for me, and so did some of the bad guys. Even though I did like some of the bad guys, but a big issue that I had with season 5 is there's a part. Spoiler alert. There's a part where, and now I understand because like Deb had been through the situation with the ice truck killer, and you know she understood what that victim had went through, right? And she knew that there was a man helping her, right?
Yeah. Well, she watched the tapes too. You got to keep that.
Right. She okay. She watched the tapes. I did forget about that. But I just don't think as a cop you would say, like, because there was like a piece of plastic hanging, like she could see like the shadows of the bodies, and like, and then she let them leave. I just don't see that, because, and I'll tell you why. Okay. Like, at first I was like, all right, I understand it, and I could see like certain cops doing it, like, but but then later on in the show, she's not okay with what Dexter's doing initially. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a contradiction, but I didn't believe it. It just didn't feel believable to me.
I don't know. I think
I know
what you're saying, but I don't think that's that big of a like, what? There's no possible way that
right. Like I said,
not even seeing them, like, that's more unbelievable to me than just letting them go.
Like, yeah, exactly.
I buy that part. Her not wanting to arrest them.
Because I think that there are cops out there that would have done that, but like I said, it didn't ruin the season for me. What ruined the season for me was
she was a victim of the ice truck killer, because all these girls in barrels. So
yes,
she watched the tape of the tortures. Like,
oh, I know,
you know what I mean. It makes sense, but I think a big point where first things first. So the writers of
like,
this
I would hope that a female cop who was in Deb's position would do that, because you've been through that, you know, like, yeah, I would hope that a female cop would do that, or any cop.
Things first, after season 4, the writers of the show left. So season 5 on is new writers,
which is why season 5 is a mess.
Is a complete mess. So, but to starts off, we got a little ahead. So to start off,
I did.
Basically, he's dealing with this traumatic thing that happened, and he's like reeling from this. He has all this guilt of something that happened. And what I love, this is one thing I do love about season 5, is how it starts. And he's filled with this rage and shit. And when he fucking attacks that guy in the bathroom with like a claw hammer, just because he talks some shit to him, and his head's like, that's the first human thing I've seen you do. Like, that's amazing. That was fire. I was like, yo, this is where they're going for season 5. Then that's when you get to the girls in these barrels start showing up. And that's what season 5 is. You have, so the guest star of this season is Julia Stiles, who kind of ruins the season, to be real. And
yeah, absolutely.
So much her fault is she's not great, the acting, but just the character of Lumen is just like, meh, who gives a fuck? These girls in barrels show up. You find out that it's a group of guys that are doing it. And one of them is like a motivational speaker dude who's like, if you want something in life, go take it. And you find out like this group of buddies, they've been doing it for years. They've been like, they go camping, and they stayed in touch through like their teenage years. And like every year they get together. It was
fat camp, remember?
Or yeah, the fat camp. So that's why he's a motivational speaker, because he's like,
he lost all that weight.
And now he's like, you got to take life by the fucking horns. And if that means getting together with your buddies and torturing women and killing them for your own satisfaction, like, that's what you do. But back to, because there's multiple killers. But like you said, I do like Sean Hattasey, the guy from like Alpha Dog and shit. And
yes, yeah.
Him as the
like
Travis or
what the fuck's his name? Boyd Fowler. Yeah,
the animal control guy. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
So when you first get introduced to him, and then him and Dexter's like
they like kick it off. They get it. You know, they're like cool with each other.
Shot me in the neck with a tranq dart. He's like, you crazy fuck. Like,
yeah.
All that stuff is amazing. I'm like, oh, and even the main guy, the Jordan Chase,
and then he doesn't even
rat him as the bad
hold
guy.
up, Boyd doesn't even rat him out.
No,
they both wake up in the hospital, and he looks at him, and he's like,
the back of the ambulance. He's
he's like, what's up? Like, whatever. And he doesn't even rat him out and then tries to figure out why, know. But
why?
even Jordan, what's
Jordan
his name?
Chase.
Jordan Chase, fucking the guy from Hackers, and fucking I forget what else he's from, but he's from that movie Hackers. But he's a decent one too. He's a decent actor.
I like the character. So there's things like
decent villain. I mean,
season 5 from the start, the shit that happens, and then the boy fathers. I'm like, oh, this is going good. It's not until Julia and literally falls into the scene. Julia Stiles falls in frame, and the second she falls in, the season starts to decline a little bit.
Yeah.
Every scene with her in it just makes it a little more meh. There's definitely things that work that I like about it, but overall as a season, it really kind of shit the bed in multiple ways. And it's mainly because of Julia Stiles and the writing. The writers left, the new writers came in. They were like, oh, this is what the show does. We get a guest star each year and we write, they had something great to work with coming off of season 4. And I like what they were doing originally, but they just chose this like weird direction to go with it, because essentially all they did was rehash season 3's. I have a killing partner and maybe I can share this with someone. And you know what I mean? It's like, we already seen that. We already been that. And you're not even doing it as good as season 3 did with Miguel Prado. Right. We're just rehashing the killing partner thing and having someone to share it with. And now you're just running the guest starring stuff every season, kind of like making it like, now it's like, okay, now it's not even a special thing. Now it's just like, you're just reaching for anyone. Julia Stiles said she would. Like,
they could have found someone so much better than her.
Yeah, or just not even have a guest star that season.
I know.
Like do a fucking season of the show. Like, I don't know. There's so many things that this is where like cracks started to really appear, I feel like. And the whole Lumen storyline and stuff. And this season it does have the like Quinn and Deb stuff going on.
That date and Quinn proposes to her, or is that later on?
I think that's this season. But what they do in this season, which I like, is that they do have Quinn start to look into Dexter. He hires that Liddy dude or whatever to like start looking into,
because he was starting to look into him a little bit after Rita's death, because he realized I didn't mean to say that, but like after, but he was looking into him, and then all of a sudden like that just like stopped. He just stopped continuing with just pursuing anything, even though he thought things were weird. And then
dude, the guy literally gets a picture of them, a video of them disposing garbage bags off the boat. And remember, Liddy shows him, and he's like, I don't care. And he's like, what? Just because you're sticking your dink in his sister now, you don't care? And it's like, that's literally the writers were just like speaking to themselves in that moment. I felt like,
right,
like you're dropping this plot line just because, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And that's where, some things about this season overall are just like, like I said, the main villain, I like Sean Hattasy. Like the stuff I like about it. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole
I know.
LaGuardia and Batista start getting together and stuff.
And I can't stand
whatever, bro. Like, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't like about the season, to be real. So it is one of the low points of Dexter. Season 5 is not great. Like I said, there's parts that work. It's not like, it's not terrible, but it's like, it's pretty bad, dude.
Compared to seasons 1 through 4, it's it's very bad. Like
if season 1 through 4 didn't exist and the show just started on Showtime in like 2009, and that was like the first season, and I watched it, I wouldn't be like, this show sucks. But when comparing it to what came before, it's like, bro, it's like not even comparable, to be honest. Compared to season 4, the high they were coming off on season 4 was amazing. And then they just completely dropped the ball with season 5. Absolutely. And anyone could tell you that the season is kind of a fucking mess, for real. And I blame Julia Stiles and the writers, you know. So that, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say about season 5. I don't know. What do you give it?
No, I agree. I give it like a 6 because there are things like the Quinn and Liddy thing.
Yeah.
While also like dating, you know, Deb type shit. And then also you know, I did like Boyd. I did like, you know, a couple of the other villains. I liked Dexter in this season. So there were things about it that I liked.
That's what's hard about even the seasons.
Lumen literally makes it lose so many points because they had to adjust storylines because of her.
And don't you think it's a little on the nose that he's a blood guy? Her name is Lumen.
Yeah, it's like
you're a Matt. It's like, bro, come on.
They use Lumen. Yeah, they use Luminol. Like, come on.
6.5. I agree because I was gonna say the thing about it's hard because the thing about Dexter is even the seasons that aren't great overall that you could pick. Oh, this thing and this thing. There's still moments like you said, Michael C. Hall's performance, Dexter. Like there's parts where season 5, like Dexter, I love when he's like hasn't got any sleep because he has Harrison. He hasn't slept in days. He's driving around. He fucking crashes the car. He forgets where he hid that body, and then he's going crazy behind it. Like shit like that. Like I loved that. Like Dexter's performances, like you said, the Quinn stuff, there's stuff that's like working. There's entire scenes in episodes that are like
DME. I could see
everything's hitting on, and I'm gonna say on all cylinders, but it's like this is still captivating television.
They forced it with
random scenes that kind of kill it, you know.
It almost seemed like I don't know if like Showtime owed Julia Stiles a favor or like
right.
Like I don't know.
Just wanted to bang her, which
like I don't know what the fuck was up with that, but like I don't know.
Supposedly her coming on is what like fucked up Michael C. Hall's and that Deb's like relationship in real life. Supposedly he started banging Julia Stiles, and that's what caused their marriage to crumble. So not only did the season like fuck Dexter up, it fucked their marriage up too, apparently.
That's crazy. I don't even think either of them are hot, to be honest with you.
Nah, me neither. Like
Deb's too skinny for me, and
she's like kind of got a cute face. Her chin's a little weird, and Julia Stiles, like she almost was cute back in the day, but like in this season, like I don't know.
She looks like she got hit in the face with a frying pan.
Just gonna say her face is like flattened almost.
Yeah.
Hit in the face with a frying pan. I mean, she really does, bro.
For real. Yeah.
What happened? Like plastic surgery or something.
Oh,
but that's another thing people bring up is Quinn. Quinn's drastic appearance change from one season to the next.
Oh my god.
And everyone was like, did you get work done? And he's like, no, I was just unhealthy before, and now I'm more healthy. I lost some weight. Like, you don't look healthy.
No, I think he was sick, to be honest with you. I think he had health issues
and shit. They try to style up his hair, and it just like I don't know.
Yeah, dude, his cheeks were like super sunken in, and then they tried to like style his hair, but it just looked messy. Like yeah, it was weird, bro. Like I feel like he was like either like getting sober or like I don't know, or on drugs.
I think that's what he was saying. He was like, oh, I was drinking a lot and I finally quit, and I like I don't know. But yeah,
or he could have been sick. He might have had like who the fuck knows? I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, that's season 5 for you. Like I think we all give it like a 6.5. It has
DME. I could rock with a 6.5.
But so season 6 happens, and everyone.
So you said 6.
I gave it like 6.5 too. Yeah. So season 6 happens. Everyone's kind of waiting after the shit show that was season 5. Everyone's waiting to see kind of what happens with this season. This one, you got, the Doom again with the guest appearances. This time they have 2. They decided to have 2. Edward James Olmos and Colin Hanks. You got 2. But then
you almost called him Colin Farrell.
I did. Well, at first I was thinking of Chet Hayes, his other son.
But I do it all the time too. Every time I go to say Colin Hanks, I almost say Colin Farrell, or I do say Colin Farrell.
But this season you have like Batista's younger sister Jamie comes in, who she's sexy.
Hot
I like Jamie.
Man,
I like Jamie as the babysitter.
So automatically the season gets 2 points just because of Jamie.
Facts. That's a fact. Yeah, you got LaGuardia's like promoted to captain. Remember, she like blackmailed the dude.
She blackmailed her way.
This is the season where Masuka has like the interns and shit.
Yes. What the fuck is dude's name?
Ryan or something? Or no, Ryan's the chick.
Ryan's the
First,
chick.
he hires this wicked hot chick with like huge tits and shit.
The dude, he ends up dating Batista's sister. It's fucking. That's gonna bother me. I'll remember it.
Lewis,
yep.
Which I didn't mind him, like the addition of the nerdy tech guy.
I thought he was gonna end up being. I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? I thought he was gonna end up being more than what he actually was.
I mean, he kind of does wind up being more than just.
Yeah.
He starts off as just another hand around the op. He's the nerdy tech guy that all those shows have, like NCIS and all. You know what I mean? Like, so he does wind up becoming like a little more. I do like his addition. Again, there's a new detective. Because so LaGuardia becomes captain, Deb becomes lieutenant in this season, and her like one of the first things she does, she hires a new detective from Chicago, Mike Anderson, to bring in a new a new black star to the show, because ever since Stokes left, they've been like missing that. I like the actor, I like the character of Mike Anderson, I like his addition in this season,
even though he only lasted a couple episodes.
So I'm trying to give the positives about season 6. So these are the things I like about this season that work. Even the Apocalypse Killers, the fact that they're doing stuff like from the apocalypse, and they're even though it's like the tableaus, like they didn't have to call it that. That's kind of
no, but
I don't mind
both great actors.
Right, the actors are good. The idea of a kid, I feel like after season 4, they felt like, well, we had the ice truck killer, we had the Trinity. Now we need another cool killer to face the whole season. The Doomsday killer, like you didn't have to do that,
Yeah,
like season 2 didn't have some big killer he was chasing the whole time. There was just other plots going on, and it worked. Season 3 didn't have some big killer either, Like, but I don't mind it if it's like, okay, the Doomsday Killer, and I like the visual element of what they're doing with the kills and stuff. Like, I'm like, okay, that works cinematically and stuff. And like, then they're like, oh, what's the meaning behind this? And what's like, there's stuff that's like working in this season. Like I said, the new detective, the Batista's younger sister, that she's hot. You got the Lewis dude there. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's working in this season for me compared to season 5. It's leaps and bounds above season 5, absolutely, in many ways. Because you replace fucking flat-faced Julia Stiles with like 4 other characters that all fit the show better.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The majority of people don't like season 6, and even the first time I watched it and the second time I watched it, I loved it. The third time I watched it, I liked it, but there was a couple things that I noticed that I'm like, no fucking way, that is absolutely ridiculous. But but I know I know that's not the reason that other people didn't like it, but most other people didn't like season 6, but I actually did like it, and maybe it is because season 5 was so terrible, but season 6 is but season 6 is not bad. It's not as good as the first 4, but honestly, it's pretty good.
Stuff that doesn't work about season 6 is the Professor Geller, even though Edward James almost gives a great performance as the creepy guy. Like some of the stuff, like he gives
Edward James
almost, the guy that plays Professor Geller.
You said Edward James almost.
I almost said it. That's his name, Edward James Olmos.
Oh, right, almost. The first time you said it with a T.
Oh, I don't know. But he gives a great performance. Honestly, I think the one thing that I like Colin Hanks.
Me too.
I get what they were going for. The younger, more naive kind of like, well, I don't know, student who's easily manipulated, like
student and master. Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's just things that just don't work about Colin Hanks in this season. I really feel like the same way Julia Stiles unstyled the 5th season. I just really feel like Colin Hanks
he didn't fit in this show, right?
He didn't. He feels out of place, and for it to be like Travis Marshall.
Now let me ask you this.
Now
let me ask you this: if they kept the same storyline and just removed Travis Marshall and removed the spoiler alert, the twist at the end,
I think the season works way better like that, honestly.
I think so,
they were banking too much on well, we had this twist in season 4, we had a twist in season 1.
Yes.
And what about this thing? But I think the season works way better without Colin Hanks in it.
Yes.
Okay. If you remove Colin Hanks from this season, I give it like an 8.5.
Right.
Like a 9.
Right.
Like, honestly.
I agree.
There's a lot of things I like about season 6. Like you said, Michael
too.
acting, and even like you said, Deb's acting is better at this point.
Way better at this point.
They divorced, so now they like actually have animosity. Some of the performances, like a lot of shit is just working in this season.
Yeah. And
every time fucking Colin Hanks is on screen, it's just like he stumbled in from another show. And doesn't belong.
Right.
You know, it's like Last Action Hero. It's like, bro, you're from, you just stumbled in from Fargo. Like you don't belong on Dexter. That's what it feels like. So with that being said, like, yeah, as much as I like some of the shit, like he ultimately brings it down. The twist doesn't hit. The ending is kind of like, you know, the stuff with him is kind of chun, but then
the twist kind of did hit the first time.
I guess just because
it did kind of hit the first time, but it wasn't like it didn't like make the season any like better, if that makes sense.
You could remove it, it doesn't take points. It's not like the ending of season 4.
But it was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
you know, like,
well, even more oh shit is the actual ending of season 6, the real twist. Which, if you take that into consideration, everything that works about it, and as much as like, okay, Colin Hanks, well, you could probably
make it
the way it ends in the church is fire. And it leaves you like, oh shit. So with all of that, like.
Now, okay,
this is the overall like bad season of the show.
Now, now let me bring up my 2 issues with season 6. So, spoiler alerts. Now, there is, the part when he walks into the house that Travis Marshall was staying at, and he painted the giant painting on the wall of the devil, and it had Dexter's face, right?
Yeah.
Now, you only call the blood guy if you know there's blood, right?
Well, I don't know. You said earlier, even he's called to the hockey rink when there's no blood.
Right, but
he is
but that was a different
expert.
case. That was a different thing, and they explained that. Like, I think Masuka requested him, or like Batista was like, I thought you'd just find it interesting or something. Like, there was like a reason that they called him down there. But anyway, even still, okay, fine. Blood spatter guy comes whether they know there's blood or not. Okay, that's irrelevant. Now, never, ever would. So Dexter shows up, and Batista's outside talking to either Masuka or Deb or Quinn, but they're all there. Masuka's there, Quinn's there, Batista's there, Deb's there. There's a bunch of other cops there. And Dexter walks up and he goes, "Have you guys been inside yet?" And Batista said, "No, we've been waiting for you." Now, when ever in the fucking world do the detectives wait for the blood guy to get to a homicide scene before they go in, especially when they don't even know if there's blood?
Right. Well,
that would never
saying, like,
happen.
Real life circumstances, if they're like patrol people or detectives, if they stumble upon a crime scene and go in and they determine it's murder, they're supposed to get the fuck out of there and call the forensics guys.
Right, but they didn't even go in. But
so I know. I'm saying, but if they're like you said, there's other cops there, so obviously like a patrol unit probably found it, called it in. Now, am I gonna say I buy that? Like, they can't have Masuka go in there? No,
right.
He's done jobs without him before.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that part was absolute bullshit.
Right.
Just to give Dexter a reason to go in and get his face off the wall.
Right. That's a Deus Ex shit. And you didn't even have to set it. You could have wrote in a way where like he gets there before them or something.
Right. Because which he does a lot, which he does often in the throughout the series. Right. He gets to places first and fixes something, or takes something or whatever. But anyway, so that and it's so like obvious. That's the fucking part that pisses me off. It's like that it makes you feel like you're insulting my intelligence here. Like, come on, now. People aren't that stupid.
6 that are like what? Like,
now the other part, when another spoiler alert, when they walk in to after they burn down the church.
Well, this is the next season that we're talking about. So you want to wrap this up and get into the next season?
No, it happens at the end of the 6th season.
No,
they play it again at the beginning of the 7th season.
I know. The last scene in season 6 is him swinging down a knife in the church, and
then
she
shit. Season,
and then it cuts.
Okay, all right.
Do we want to go into season 7, and you could talk about that? Because that's like the beginning of season 7.
It's the very beginning of season 7.
Okay, so let's just give what we thought of season 6 first, what we rated that, and then we can move on to the next one.
All right. So, season 6, I would give it probably about a 7, maybe a 7.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. 7, I'd say like 7.3, 8, like 7.5, 8. Like, it's
really, you think an 8?
Maybe
the first time I watched it, I had it at like a 9.
Yeah, I'd say after rewatching it, it's probably like a 7.5. It's not as bad as season 5. Like I said, there's things that work about it. There is stupid, lazy writing that just doesn't make sense. There's parts where you're like, really, Colin Hanks is like unnecessary. but it does have a really good ending.
It does.
So it's like,
it does.
So
I could see an 8. I could see an 8.
Yeah, just overall, like how it ends. So like, I'd say a 7.5.
7.5. Yeah, that's what I'm giving it to.
So season 7.
So season
picks right up, right there
where it leaves off.
Right.
And Deb is completely shocked by what she just saw. And Dexter tries to like explain it and come up with lies and all that.
He came at me and I had to right
defend myself and all that. And then they figure out a way to fix the situation where, you know, they burn down the church. Okay. So they burn the church. Now Dexter covers his victims in plastic. He never wraps their feet in plastic. There's never any plastic on their feet. It goes down to like their ankles. Now that's completely irrelevant anyway to what I'm about to say. But so they light this on fire, they pour gasoline on the body, around the body, everything, light this thing on fire. Now, when the cops come and everyone comes there and Dexter shows up and Deb shows up, right? Dexter's standing next. Now the body's like burnt to a crisp, you know what I mean? It's like it's got burn marks all over it. The plastic's clearly like burnt off, like, or melted to the body or whatever. And then between the toes, where he does not ever put any fucking saran wrap, between the toes, there is this perfect, not even burnt at all, little piece of saran wrap, and like a circle piece too. Like it definitely didn't come from the, so and like he like looks at Deb and like gets her attention and like shows her with his eyes, and she sees it, and like, and she gets, you know, Masuka's attention to get him away from the body, and Dexter grabs it. It's like, now, first of all, that fucking no plastic would have survived that fire, right? Second of all, he doesn't put any plastic on their feet to begin with, and then
I mean, but I believe it would burn up, but to say that it would, like, stuff wouldn't try, if you have plastic that's wrapped around something and all like where it's going burns, it could lift up and like blow and carry a little bit. Like that happens all the time when you burn,
I guess, but they poured gasoline all over this place. There's no way that piece of plastic wouldn't have burned, especially stuck between his toe while his body's burning. His body was burnt to a crisp. Like
I don't have that much of an issue with that. I mean, it is a TV show. Like,
well, here's not like let me finish. Hold on. This is the issue that I have with it. If it was something that they needed to drive the story forward, right, I would be okay with it. But it's literally irrelevant. It has nothing to do with anything. It's doesn't
just build tension in the moment of like, oh look,
exactly.
I get it. It's completely irrelevant, because I was gonna say, I'm like, well, I guess I don't have that much of a problem with it, because it's not like something that's like, oh, that gets some cut. But I guess that makes it even more pointless. Of like, why is it even there then if it doesn't need? Yeah, I think that's more just the lazy writing. And just in the moment, we need tension. Like there's already enough tension. Like you don't need.
There's tons of tension at that moment. You don't need that.
You definitely don't need
especially that. Right after that,
when they find
LaGuardia finds the
right.
So you know, it's like you definitely didn't need that. But
which I do like, because at first I'm like, oh, he would leave it behind, but I'm like, well, it was a crazy and even Deb's like, what the fuck? He's like, sorry, that wasn't my normal routine. Like it's not really how it goes usually. So
now
But season 7, there is things I like about the season 2.
Can I just say something about season 7 real quick, and then I'll let you can have the floor as long as you want. So season 7, there's a villain in season 7, and when you watch the show, he literally looks like it's like you're watching him on an old TV from a 70s Bond movie. Like, he doesn't look like the other actors in HD, and he has this he literally looks like he's in a 70s movie.
Right. It's noir.
Yeah.
I like that though.
It's insane. I love it. And he's one of my favorite villains of the whole
And you want to know why? Is because they didn't go, okay, who's gonna be the serial killer for season 7? You know what I mean? They actually went differently with it, which is I was gonna say is the things I like about season 7. Now, right off rip, I'm gonna tell you one thing I didn't like is how they did my boy Mike Anderson, because he was a strong point in season 6. I like the addition of the new character. I like where he was going. What they did again. Same issue
I agree because
issue I have with the dope stuff.
Then it's a smart detective you have now, and not just Quinn. So they could have had a storyline where Mike Anderson started figuring out what Dexter was doing.
This is what I was just gonna say, is that
my bad.
He does. Do you remember? He requests the security footage around the fire or something, right? So literally he's like, uh-oh. And it's my same problem with Oaks. They did the same fucking thing. Is that you have this great character, this great guy, just so happens to be the only other black cop on the show who's smart and starts figuring shit out. And instead of having Dexter have to deal with that in some way, they just open the season with it. He's like, oh, hold on. He's on the phone. He's like, hold on, I'll call you back. And some guy's pulled over with a flat tire. And then they're just oh, you know what? Instead of having this ongoing thing, it's you want to build tension with fucking plastic between toes. You have tension right here in an actual situation with this smart detective catching on. And you're just going to go, oh, we'll just eliminate him and have someone that's not even ever been on the screen before this moment. Some random chun takes out Mike. And you're just really? That's one thing I did not like right off rip.
Some dumb fuck who forgot to wipe down the fucking blinker.
Right.
If you steal a car, you have to, or commit a crime in a car and ditch the car, and you wipe down all the stuff, the handles, all that, the steering wheel. Do not forget to fucking wipe down the blinker and the the fucking light thing and all that. People always forget the blinker.
Season 7 has Hannah McKay, who's another Yvonne Stravosky.
I love Hannah McKay. A lot of people
didn't like her in the show, and I gotta be real, bro. Especially rewatching it, I liked her in this show.
I like her a lot. I always did.
So
I think the first time around, I had mixed feelings about her, because she's just hard to trust. But yeah, man, I definitely like Hannah McKay a lot, and I like how what they did as far as her and Harrison at the end. That was one of the only good things about the end of that show.
But I mean, you got the fallout of season 6, the stuff with Deb. You got some great scenes between Deb and Dex, because then she starts putting stuff together. She's like, wait a minute. Well, when the ice truck killer, she's like, wait, I was wrapped in plastic. So there is good writing moments, because you're like, wait a minute, this person would start thinking that, and then stuff does actually happen. They go, okay, that makes sense. You got that. You got Hannah McKay. You got the villain, like you said, the fucking Bond villain guy, Ray, whatever. I like that actor. He kills it. There's some great things happening in this season. The one thing I feel is just they didn't know what to do with Quinn in this season. They're like, well, he's dealing with the divorce or him and Deb breaking up, and he's kind of being a degenerate. And then because they have the whole Russian mob thing, it's like, oh, he's gonna start dating a stripper, and it's like that whole
honestly
thing.
I think they were always trying to figure out what they were gonna do with Quinn,
exactly.
and they never figured it out.
But another thing you have going on is then LaGuerta starts like looking back into the Bay Harbor butcher case. And then the stuff is like, because once she finds the blood slide and stuff, you know, that kicks that off. And then you have the stuff with
Dexter. Hold up, let's be real. She never goes out to like shit like that. Like, I don't think she would have been the one to find that blood slide. Like, I don't know. But we'll move on from that.
Yeah, I guess, like, I mean, I don't think who finds it is like.
No, I know. It just could have been literally anybody else.
Right, I get you, but it's like because she already never believed that in the, you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
But I get what you're saying, like,
yeah.
But also, I think it's because, remember she was like, oh, she was captain and Debra was lieutenant for a while, and then because the Doomsday Killer stuff was like so big and they dropped the ball a bunch of times along the way, like trying to catch them and shit, that when they finally found him and he was like killed, she's like, the press was there and shit. And they say this multiple times throughout the show. They're like, oh, McGuire's a master at playing the game. You know, like she knows how to work the press. She knows how to play the game.
Right.
So
She'd be a good politician.
That she would show up. That, oh, we finally found Travis Marshall. Like, I do buy that she would show up at that scene.
That's true. She reminds me a lot of like Aceveda from The Shield.
Right.
You know.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that work about this season. I mean, am I mad about a bunch of hot Russian girls? Like, no, but the Quinn's like wasting a bunch of time. That specific one he's dating isn't that attractive to me.
No, not at all.
But the stuff that does work is the chemistry between Dex and Deb, and the conversations they have, the stuff that she starts to remember, and then stuff he tells her, then she starts to question it and put together and come back and have further conversation. Like, I like there's a lot of stuff about season 7 I feel like really works. Stuff that you've been waiting to see for a while starts to happen. And like you said, Deb is like a better actor in these seasons, and the tension between them and stuff. And
which season does she figure out that, like, which season did she start going to see the therapist and realize
that she's like in love with him?
Yeah.
I don't remember season. I think it's season 6, because she's like, oh, maybe I do love him, and then it's season 6 because she shows up to the church that night to tell him that she's in love with him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
So that's why, like, the fallout of it all makes sense, and that's also why she gets so in her own. She gets jealous of Hannah, you know, because then she's like, well, what the fuck, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a fucking sicko. Like, is that why you're like love her? You know what I mean? That's also another point of tension, is because he finds this other chick. But it's like, I swear it's not even acting, because you got this newer hot blonde girl that shows up. Their actual relationship in real life failed over this new blonde coming in. So some of the scenes where she's like jealous and she's like letting him have it and stuff, like, it just feels like real. Like, I don't even feel like she's acting. Like, this is shit from their real relationship that they're just capturing on camera. And she finally gets to say to his face, you know? Like,
absolutely.
So I feel like those scenes really work in this season. Like, I like Hannah McKay. I like, oh, McGuire. There finally someone has questions about the Bay Harbor butcher case. The LaGuerta stuff, the stuff with Deb finding out, like, all that's working for me in this season, as well as the villain, who I like.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's obviously there's little things, like I said, the Quinn stuff, the side plot. They spent a little too much time at the strip club. The whole thing of Well, the reason the guy was hunting him so much, there's some great scenes though, like when Dexter lures that guy into the bar, rival territory and stuff, and then it shows like what happened. He's like, "This guy's like the fucking Terminator" and stuff. Like, I loved that. There's some great like showdown scenes between them and stuff. What I didn't like is that the reveal about this villain, about he's like, "I'm gay." It's like, okay, that was kind of unnecessary. Like, I get it for the story of like, oh, that's why he's been going so hard, because this dude you thought was like his brother or his boy, you're like, oh no, he wants revenge because his lover. Like, it's like, I don't think that was that necessary, but I'm not like that mad at it where it like ruins it. He's still a great villain, and I like how they wind up like respecting each other, kind of. And he's like, oh, because of this dude's reckless actions, his own fucking the Russians start like turning on him too, because he starts like he fucking like shoots up the deli while Dexter's in there and shit. Like, there's some great shit that happens in this season that's more like action-y than we've gotten before. And I like it. Facts. And I like that when they team up to take care of these like assassins and shit, like, and Hannah, like, there's a lot of stuff I like about season 7, to be real. I think it's better than season 5 and season 6 for multiple reasons. You don't have a Julia Stiles ruin it. You don't have a fucking Colin Hanks. The worst you get is the like Quinn's girl, and you get some scenes with that and shit. But
yeah,
for the most part, I feel like this season works really well. The one thing that hurts it the most is the ending of this season. Because again, back to the dilemma. We were talking about the main character having to face the moral dilemma of rule number 1, don't get caught, and rule number 2, don't kill an innocent. He's finally fucking faced with that dilemma again. Same as the dope situation. And he has to choose, do I kill this person that's innocent? Or, you know, do I not get caught? Like, what do I do here? And they make the same fucking mistake that they made in season 2. And they give him an out. And they go, let's have someone else do this instead. So, and then you're taking away the moral ramifications of having to choose what to do.
Yeah.
Again, they make the same mistake that they did in season 2. And that, I feel like, and I can say I almost get why, because like, oh, well, now this person's in on it and they're already dealing with the conflict of, you already had them dealing with that. So you could have Dexter have to make a choice and then her have to live with the fallout of the choice he made, and if she can accept that or not. That's already good enough. I don't like the choice they made at the end. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that hurts it for me, is as far as giving your main character the out instead of forcing him to face the consequences of these choices. That's how you do like further character development, especially if you're going into your later seasons and you're going to end it. You could have him like really have to deal with the weight of that. You know, if you were too scared to do it in season 2, okay. Even though the Lila shit, it's like, bro, they dropped the ball. To me, this is a way bigger dropping of the ball, because you're this late in the show and you're still scared to pull the fucking trigger on a decision like that. And
facts.
They fucking, I don't like it. I don't like that. And in turn, the choice they make here winds up making season 8 way worse than it could have been too, as well as other stuff. But so overall, love the season. It's like the opposite of season 6, right? Great season. The ending kind of is like, season 6, like not so great all the way through. Great. It's like literally the reverse of season 6.
Yeah.
So
no, I feel
that being said, I still give season 7, I give like a solid 8.5.
I was gonna say I give it a 8.
I don't
know about 8.5, but I give it an 8. But yeah, we got to move along. It is 9 o'clock. But yeah, so we got one more season to get through. The final season. Is right.
Right. I mean, Can we? Is there anything that works about this season?
No, not at
Nothing.
all.
Not one thing.
I don't even think we need to even talk about it, to be honest with you.
No, we gotta talk about it. Like
it was so disappointing, and here's the thing, like, so spoiler alert, big spoiler alert, for the end of the show. So the whole point was Dexter realized that as long as he is alive, Harrison is at risk at becoming just like him, especially if he's around. And yeah, he could go off somewhere else and, like, leave Harrison with Hannah. But like he would never be able to stay away from his son. You know what I mean? He would want to visit his son eventually. So like, he had to kill himself. The only way is for him to die. That's it, right? And that was what the whole thing was. And when I was watching the show and I realized that was the thing, and then they were talking about the storm coming in, and I even said it. I was like, yo, imagine he just, like, got in the boat and just rode into the eye of the storm and then, like, they just find the wreckage of the boat and, like, find his body, or maybe don't find his body, whatever. Like I feel like that would be a dope ending. And yeah, that would have been a dope ending.
I don't agree that he had to die, though.
No, but I'm not saying that either, but I'm saying that's what the point. That's what he said in the show.
He knew he couldn't be in these people's lives. As long as he was around, they were gonna get hurt. So him leaving,
right? But he definitely implies that, like,
they'd be better without me in their life.
He should die. Like, everyone's better off without him. The world's better off. But I do feel
like a human. I get what you're saying. I'm not trying
because
to argue against it.
No. Because
human self-preservation wouldn't.
But think about this.
He be like, I'm gonna kill myself. Like, in your mind, you're like, as long as I'm far away and everyone thinks I'm dead.
But think about it. He did drive the boat out there with that intention.
Yeah, I guess.
So that was the plan.
So maybe he did plan to do that, and he wound up living, and he was just like, "Well, everyone thinks I'm dead. I can, like, I could just go, like, live out some." I mean, I don't have so much of an issue with that as, like, far as the ending. Like, is it a good ending? No, but I think it's just everything else about season 8. It's what happens right before that with Deb, which is terrible. Because they try to
the
fake
lumberjack shit was terrible.
Yeah,
bro.
that was silly. But I don't like the fake out of, like, oh no, this is gonna happen, and then fucking 2 minutes later they're like, oh my god, no, wait, like, it's like, wait, what? Like,
yeah,
what is that? Like, you could have just done one or the other. Don't fake me out, like. But there's just too much. They knew it was the last season. They bring back Hannah McKay, which I'm not mad at. But what I don't like is because of
the way they brought her back.
I do too. So I like that about the season. As far as that, I mean, the stuff, because of the way season 7 ends, then Deb's, she's like in a job. She's dealing with. I don't like. She's like, I quit being a cop. Now I'm just like a private investigator, and they introduce this new guy, and then on top of that, they're like, Masuka has a daughter. And
dude from fucking Boondock Saints,
right?
Sean
Flannery. And I don't mind the actor; he's not a bad actor.
No, but he wasn't
introducing characters in the last season,
And he wasn't good for the show, to be honest with you. Like, he wasn't a bad character, but like he just didn't feel like he fit.
So instead of focusing on, like, one real plot and trying to wrap it up, they do go, we have the brain surgeon this season, who's the worst. He's the most unforgettable villain of all time. He's the most plain-faced chun bag ever, who's like nothing special about him at all. And what's sad is, like, literally, remember the Minotaur killer who was like the labyrinth?
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
only
yeah.
in like a couple episodes. He's way more interesting of a character.
Yeah.
Than like the brain surgeon, you know? And they tried to do too much in one season. You got Dr. Vogel who comes in, who's like, I knew your father, and I'm
I
gonna
know.
help you, Dexter. It's like you have a surrogate mother. Then you
and
have
she was using him too the whole time. That was
and then
bullshit.
you got the young kid, the rich kid, who was like, he could be my protege. So now you got the mother, the protege, you got
and he was a fucking chun.
Wicked chun. Then you got literally Deb's got this new job. She's got a new boss, is this guy. We still got this going on. Masuka's got a daughter. Like there's so much like, and they still don't know what to do with Quinn. Like it's fucking dude. You got Vogel, you got the protege, you got the brain surgeon, you got Hannah McKay. Then you got the guy Debs works for. Now he's on to Hannah, but there's also a storm brewing, and like they try to do way too much shit in this season. And that back to my point about season one, what makes season one work so much is just the conciseness of how small it is. It's about the ice truck killer and his relationship to Dexter and Dexter's life. They tried to throw like everything at the fucking wall and also build up and wrap it all up in one season while introducing new character. And it's way too much happening. They expect you to give a fuck about, like you said, this chun bag rich kid who's like, it doesn't he fit your code? Just murk this kid. The Vogel lady's unlikable. The brain surgeon's not interesting at all, and they try to do some twist.
And she lies to you and doesn't even tell you about her son. Like
right, exactly. And then the guy's a total chun bag. And then the way they have it end, we're like, we're gonna run away to Argentina. He's gonna leave with Hannah and he realizes. I like the internal, like without Michael C. Hall's acting, this season gets like a 2. What I do like is, like I said, Hannah.
Without his acting, this show.
Yeah, the show doesn't work at all. But I'm saying the only good thing about the season is like Hannah and the he really starts to like come to the realization of like maybe all these thoughts I had about me just being a monster and not being human, maybe they were kind of implanted in me by Harry. Maybe I do have a choice. Maybe I don't need to kill. Like, I like that like thought, like him exploring that avenue. But it's just so like, he finally decides. He's like, you know what? After chasing, he goes, you know what? Yeah, you can arrest him. I don't need to kill this guy. And then that decision is the fatal mistake. And then you get the ride off into the storm. And you know what? No, you just take my kid. And it's just like, bro, like everything about it just falls apart. And so I get overall when people look back on Dexter, they're like, oh, well, that show. And it's mainly because of season 8. I know, like we said, season 5 has a lot of issues and shit. And like, there's problems with season 6 and even 7, but it's really season 8 that
really season 8.
It's clearly season 8, just like Game of Thrones. It taints.
The final season can't be the worst season.
Right.
That should be the best season.
There's one part I really, really like about season 8 is because of what happens, and then the guy's in custody and shit, and you know what scene I'm talking about, and then he's like, he goes in there and he's like, I gotta get a blood sample and shit. Like that was awesome. And then
I love that scene.
Quinn's sitting there and Batista's like, explain this to me, man. He's like, what? And Quinn's just sitting there all like fucking pissed out. He's like, fuck him. He's like, God, what he fucking does it. Like I like that. Like there's still scenes that are good. It's just
of course, because
the writing is really what it is. Like some of the actors are still giving good performances, like the cinematography and shit. It's like
I could have wrote a better fucking 5th through 8th season, 5 through 8 seasons. Like me and you could have sat in the writers' room and wrote a better.
Absolutely,
way better.
What I would have done for like a fine, if you know it's your last season for a show like this, they should have had it come out that people caught on he was a killer, mainly through the death of let's say what happens at the end of season 7. People figure it out because they start to look into that, right? A high profile figure dies, and they find out now he has to go on the run. Now he's you know what I mean? Like that would be more intriguing. And then you could even have him. I had this
kind of like
too, right?
Breaking Bad,
how
like
the whole show, he's like talking to himself about stuff, like the internal dialogue, which is another thing I feel like really works about Dexter. If you didn't have that, this show wouldn't be as good.
I agree 100%.
The internal dialogue, a lot of the acting is like without him having to say stuff. He's like acting with just his like face and body, but then has the internal dialogue.
The internal dialogue with his facial expressions is so fucking perfect.
It's amazing.
It is.
See, what I would have done for a season 8, like an ending season, and we can kind of wrap it up with this. What I would have done is, like I said, I had him on the run, had people investigating him type shit. Then you could even have him have like a show off or showdown, or he gets to a point where he's faced with like having to the people he worked with the whole time, like Batista or something, like and Deb, like come, and it's like he's forced between having to kill them to survive or to finally give up. And he finally realizes like, oh, I gotta choose number 2, don't kill innocents over don't get caught. And he willingly lets them arrest him. And then you find out the whole time from season 1, all the internal dialogue was him actually telling the story of him being a serial killer in an interrogation room type shit. He's been telling someone this the whole time. I feel like that revelation works so well. And
I would have had him kill Deb too. Like,
yeah, that could work. But
I would have had him like, sorry, go ahead, finish what you were saying.
I was just gonna say, like, I just feel like that you could still leave it on if you wanted the open ending. You could still leave it there because then, well,
that's
what happens next?
Like
what happens next? Does he go to jail? Does he get lethal injection? Does he escape somehow? Does he?
It leaves it open to interpretation for the fans. I feel like that's how
bring it back and do something later. But I just feel like the revelation of like, oh shit, he's been telling someone the story the whole time. Even if right after that you want to pull something where he like gets out of there, so like whatever. But I think that would be a way better ending, to be real.
Yeah, and I think that like personally, like I feel like it would have been better if, say, like when spoiler alert, big time. I mean, at this point, people just should know. But when they're in the storage container, and LaGuerta is on the ground, she's like, "Deb, do it, shoot him, whatever." Like, I feel like I would have had Deb, because she's such a cop, you know. And she's a good cop, not a dirty cop. And even though that's her brother, he is a serial killer, and now he's killing fucking the captain, you know what I mean? So like I would have had like her be like, you know, try to arrest Dexter, and Dexter being left with no choice but to kill both of them.
But I don't buy that at all, though. I don't think he would ever kill them. That don't make sense to me, because
I don't think so either. But if you have you think he would, and I think so too, probably now.
Because you said yourself, if he's accepted the fact that, oh, I need to die because I heard everyone I love, and he's already done. Think about season 1, what he was willing.
I think he would have let
for the
Deb
safety
arrest
of his
him.
sister that he loves. He's willing to do this other shit. Like, I don't think he would. I think he would give up and not hurt and say, you know what, arrest me, give me the lethal injection. Maybe that's what I deserve. Like, I'm a monster.
But again, if it was me writing it, it wouldn't have turned out that way. It would have, Dexter would have had like less emotion. Like he, okay, that's my sister, and I know I'm supposed to love her and that, but like doesn't actually have that feeling of love or compassion.
Nah, I feel like that undoes so much of the first 4 seasons, though.
Yeah, I would have to write it myself from beginning.
I get what you're saying, but I feel like that just him killing. Like, I agree with everything else he's saying, but him killing, I would never buy that.
I just wanted Deb to die in the show. That's all.
Mean, I would say that seems more like it. It's just like you just want this chick to get killed, because I'm like, that don't really make sense though.
No, I just wanted her to die, but no, I wish she died instead of Lundy. But anyway,
but yeah, this was a great retrospective.
This was.
Overall, I feel like we agreed on pretty much like most of
a lot of stuff.
The biggest argument we had was over the fucking theme song.
And yo, honestly, yeah, facts. And honestly, yo, yesterday me and Pablo were talking about this, and I was like, bro, I'm not gonna have anything good to say. I'm gonna, and I was like,
maybe that's why I came into it hot. Like, you got nothing good to say. I was like, bro, this, like, really?
I was like, dude,
good at all? Like, what do you mean? Like,
I was like, dude, we're gonna be arguing the whole time. I was like,
so I felt like, really, we can't even get through the intro. I felt like you were just gonna be nitpicking the whole time. So that's maybe why. I mean, is it a great intro? Like, not, I mean, no, I'm not going out of my way to watch it, but the music
terrible
good and shit, and like, I don't know, maybe it was just that.
Yeah, but once
really gonna be nitpicking the whole time, like,
once you've watched it a couple times, it's like, okay,
I skip every intro now. If it's on Netflix, and I skip fucking every intro. Game of Thrones, all that shit.
Yeah, I skip.
If Breaking Bad had an intro, I'd probably skip it.
even a 2-second intro, yo, Trailer Park Boys, like, it's a 22-minute show. Like, they have like a 2-minute long fucking intro, and it's like
for a comedy show.
The music is super like calming and relaxing, and it's awesome, and it's just like in black and white, like showing you the trailer park, and it's kind of cool to watch the first time. But then after that, I'm like, why didn't they just, like, after the first season, just like cut it down to like 15 to 20 seconds?
Right. They do that on other shows. They
have done that. Yeah, they have done that on other shows.
I could see that, but when I do want to say at one point,
you gotta watch that show, bro.
I will. Trailer Park Boys. But what we were talking about, the Dexter intro. There's one thing I really like, is that there's one part where after he gets married, he hasn't been sleeping. Like I said, he doesn't remember where he hid the body. They do the beginning.
They change it a little.
They change it, like the music's out of key. He goes to tie his shoe and it breaks. He
looks way more tired when they show his face.
The egg yolk breaks and everything. Like, it just shows like, oh my god, like I haven't slept at all my whole life. And I liked that, like the deviation from it to show like I thought that was clever. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, overall, I think for the time, you gotta think 2006. This show and season 1 through 4 fucking masterpieces. Ended bad, there was some problems with it. Michael C. Hall's acting is fucking amazing.
He's a great actor. He's a great actor.
He really
I gotta watch Safe. I gotta watch that show.
Safe is good. It's a miniseries. It's a British stuff.
I just wish it was I just wish they would do more movies and less miniseries. It's like not everything has to be a miniseries.
Watch Cold in July is a movie with Michael C. Hall. It's a really good movie. It's like probably less than 2 hours. If you've never seen it,
I'll watch it.
It reminds me of like Blue Ruin
after Christmas though, because I got 9 days of Christmas till Christmas, and I got about 10 Christmas movies to watch. So, but But yeah, overall, I'm gonna watch the Dexter prequel episode tonight.
Right. There's things I work. There's a young Batista. There's a young Masuka.
Yeah, I seen the trailer for it.
There's I don't know. I have mixed feelings, but I'm hopeful for the resurrection. So we are we'll spin the block and talk about New Blood and the prequel and shit. And
when the prequel season ends, we're gonna do an episode about the Monday after that the prequel season ends. We're gonna do an episode about Half Blood, Cold Blood,
New Blood, and the prequel. And then when the new season comes out, when that ends, we'll spin the block on that or something.
Yeah, and then when Resurrection comes, we're definitely gonna talk about that.
But I'm not mad at them bringing
do a
it back.
Breaking Bad episode, and I definitely want to do a Curb episode because
Right.
I feel like those are two shows. Because to me, those are my two favorite shows. Like Breaking Bad to me is the most rewatchable drama, and Curb is the most rewatchable comedy. Always Sunny and Trailer Park Boys are up there, but Curb is definitely the most rewatchable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and
Dexter,
DME Detroit said he wanted to be a part of the Curb episode. So if we can make that work, we definitely will.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a great I think it was an accomplishment in TV. Like I said, especially for the time, it definitely influenced stuff that came after it. I'm not mad at them like wanting to continue it because of the Michael C. Hall's acting. It's an intriguing character and shit. So
for sure,
they're definitely doing it for money to keep it going. I mean, I get it.
That's why they did what they did at the end of the original Dexter show, was to make sure that they could continue to make money off of this character in the future.
But with that being said,
that's Hollywood.
Overall, I loved this show. The acting, yeah, it was a great, just for the time, for Showtime too. Like this was a titan in television. You got to think this had like 1 million viewers weekly.
Yeah,
remember, like season 2 ending had like 1.3 million and shit.
It started to drop drastically,
and that's why they said we're just gonna end it now.
A lot of people didn't like the religious aspect of it, of season 6. That's when it started to really, really go down, the viewership. But all right, we gotta end this show. It was a great episode. I think we really did go very in depth on every season and talk about a lot of stuff. And for anybody who hasn't watched it, I feel like they're probably gonna go watch it. And for people who watched it and hadn't seen it in a while, probably go rewatch it. So it's definitely worth a watch. If you're looking for a show, it's on
super bingeable, bro. The fact it's on
Showtime, it's on Paramount Plus.
The entire series is on Netflix.
Dexter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all on Netflix.
Yeah. It's all on Netflix.
Infinitely bingeable. You can skip the intro if it's too long.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth watching, bro. It's a very entertaining show.
But anyone who hasn't seen it, when you watch it, I want y'all to report back if you think the beginning, the intro is too long. But wait till you watch the whole first season first. Watch the whole first season and watch the whole intro every episode, and then decide if it's too long.
You said by the second episode you felt that.
All right, fine.
That's where I drew the line.
All right, then we'll do the third episode. You watch 3 episodes, watching the full intro, and tell us how you felt about it. Is it too long? Should it have been shortened?
I was completely bugging off it, but once you said the second time I saw, I was like, all right, come on. By the second time you're over it, like a little much to me. But I feel
yeah. But all right, on that note, we out this bitch. We pulling out.
Can we at least protect the world from killers that fall through the cracks? We need more Dexters.
We absolutely can.
Protect
the world from anything.
From the traffic marshals and Boyd Fowler.
And definitely the Boyd Fowler.
Yeah.
Definitely the Boyd Fowler.
Oh, shit.
On that note, it has been Unscripted Logic, episode 43. I am Social Assassin, and this is Pablo Picasso. And we will see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another great episode. Y'all have a good night.
You never know.
You never know. We out this bitch.
Peace.
Peace.